Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Congratulations, Jared Goff gets richer. $212 million. We're going with $53 million a year for the Lions quarterback. We knew it was a priority, Perloff, that Detroit got this done. The question is, can he lead Detroit to a Super Bowl? You like this move.
Oh, my God. Will he or when he lead them to a Super Bowl? Definitely can. There's nothing not to like about it. You had to do this. What's your other choice? You have a team that's on the brink of winning it all. You can't just let your quarterback go. And Jared Goff is perfectly fine to run this offense. Is that a ringing endorsement?
Nice.
Yes.
Perfectly fine.
I'm a big system quarterback guy, and he is fit in this system. Dude has had a very productive NFL career, and that's all you want out of Detroit because you have a team model where you have so much talent around him that you can win. You've built that way, and he's perfect for this. And I know the money sounds crazy. We're in the 50s, 170 guaranteed, 170 million that is. But that's a going rate. This contract's not even going to look bad in 3 years. Like, that is not some exorbitant contract where they're making Jared Goff the richest man in pro sports. This is what you pay quarterbacks, Maggie. So they had to jump in right in the fray and pay him the going rate.
Yeah, he will trail only Joe Burrow to the most average money per year. Right. But you mentioned
for now. That'll be done in 2 weeks.
And
we've
got Dak Prescott needs a contract, and Tua needs a contract, and Matthew Stafford's looking for more money, and there's a lot of guys out there who are still looking to get paid. But you just mentioned it right there. A perfectly good quarterback and somebody who they had to pay and somebody who's good because of the system around them. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound like a $53 million a year person. That doesn't sound like somebody who's worth $53 million. I get that that's the going rate for quarterbacks right now, and it's gotten so out of control. But when I think about somebody who's going to be paid near the top of the league, I'm using words like elevating the offense. I'm using words like generational. I'm using words like one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. That's more of a phrase. I'm using descriptors that are a little more than good in the system and like won't kill you out there.
Well, how many guys fit what you just said? You're talking about 4 guys who are like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes level. Not every team's going to get a guy like that.
Okay, so let's do this. And Jared Goff just got this massive extension yesterday. Listen, it was expected. This is not shocking, but he now becomes the second highest paid per average per year, only behind Burrow. If I just asked you this question, and I ask it to everyone in the room and I ask it to everyone listening, if you could start a franchise with one quarterback to build around, how many quarterbacks would you name before you got to Jared Goff? Because I can tell you how many I would name. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts. I might even throw Aaron Rodgers in there, even though he's 40. I might throw Brock Purdy in there, who just beat Jared Goff in that NFC Championship game. So I just got to 10 guys back of the envelope.
You're building around Aaron Rodgers?
I'm just saying, if I needed somebody, I might think about Aaron Rodgers. Like,
what?
Let's see how Rodgers is when he comes back from the Achilles. But don't get caught up on...
But build around, this is a 4-year deal.
Okay, but don't get caught up on just one name. I'm just telling you, look at the volume of people
but then again,
who I just put back of the envelope before you get to Goff.
What's the real difference between Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts?
If you're talking about upside, I got Hurts is younger. Hurts is way more athletic. He's more dynamic. I can give you a lot of good things about Jalen Hurts.
See, to me, they're basically, once you get past that first tier you said, then Goff's right in pretty much the same thing as Dak Prescott, Hurts.
And I didn't put Dak there, but I could have.
Yeah, so I think that you're paying, he's a tier 2 quarterback. And the truth is, Detroit is in a position where they're going to keep winning. They're not going to get one of those tier 1 guys. And there's a lot of luck. So I think you have to settle with this. I mean, of course, I would take Herbert. And of course, I would take Josh Allen. But you're not going to get those guys. That's not falling to Detroit. There's no path to a guy like that. So you have to have a quarterback who's good and competent and can run your system. And I'll tell you right now, Jared Goff is going to kick a lot of those guys' butt at a certain point. I mean, the guy's won a lot of playoff games. He's probably going to beat almost everybody you said at some point.
Okay, the guys won a lot of playoff games. Let's stop on that for a second, too. The guys won a lot of playoff games is something that I hear a lot about Jared Goff. And it's true. He does have a winning postseason record. I believe he's 5-4. But let's look at what was actually going on, because you look at those Rams playoff runs, and Jared Goff was not exactly lighting the world on fire for those playoff runs. In fact, their run to the Super Bowl with the Rams, he scored one offensive touchdown. They threw for one offensive touchdown, and it was against the Saints in one of the most controversial wins maybe in NFL history, where the Rams get gifted this no pass interference call. It was clearly pass interference, and they get to the Super Bowl, and it was crazy. He didn't score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Dak outplayed him in that in a playoff game when they met when he was with the Rams. If you want to go back to the early years, now he had a very good run this past season.
Yeah,
but that was the only season he's played in the playoffs for the Lions. Like. And
yes,
again,
and he was awesome.
And you want to pay somebody for what they're going to do, not what they've done. But let's not pretend like Jared Goff has this incredible postseason history when you dig into it, that was not what was going on. They were not around him. He was not responsible for that. That was a team that was built around Sean McVay literally reading the defenses for him in his headset, Todd Gurley being the focal point, and Aaron Donald being on the other side.
Well, I seem to remember he had a pretty good game. Was it against the Seahawks where he had
one good game against the Seahawks.
Yeah,
beat Russell Wilson. Prime Russ Wilson.
Regardless, I mean, look at the people you had on some of the other guys.
I'm sorry, Dak also beat Prime Russell Wilson in a big playoff game.
Yeah, but look at the other guys in playoffs. You mentioned Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. You didn't mention Russell Wilson. Like, a lot of these guys have not done anything. The playoffs is hard. A lot of those guys have not had the success that Goff. Goff was on fire last year in the playoffs, I remember.
Yeah,
and it was sort of fluky that they didn't beat the Niners. So, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about the playoff Jared Goff there because of what I saw last year. Like, he's a guy who's not going to completely fold under pressure like Dak has done in the playoffs. So I have no fear there about this contract with Goff. I'm not like I'm getting Jared Goff and he's going to completely choke in the playoffs.
Okay, well, we aren't that far removed. We're talking about Jared Goff, who got paid yesterday, $212 million extension, $170 guaranteed, second highest annual average, like per year contract, only to Joe Burrow. Let's talk about that because it wasn't that long ago, even going into that San Francisco game, that you were wondering if Jared Goff and how he's going to play outside. This is conversations we just had. And it was, how's he going to play outside in California where he's from? This is not even how's he going to play outside in Green Bay or something like that. Then that, again, rosy color right now on Goff because they're coming off a big run.
Yeah.
Granted, he missed two crucial fourth down plays in that NFC Championship game, and the 49ers came back and beat them, but that was sort of an organizational failure. Dan Campbell has to wear a lot of that. I'm not going to pin it on Goff.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled the ball. Yeah. What are you supposed to do? Well, again, that's not on Goff.
No, you put the ball in Goff's hands, though, at two different times in the second half with fourth downs, and they weren't able to convert. But here's the thing. I'm not going to disagree with you. He had a good playoff run, but it's especially rosy right now for Jared Goff, where it wasn't exactly that way even going into the postseason last year.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. He has no outdoor games this year. I'm looking at it, trying to find some outdoor games. They have basically, because they're in Detroit and the NFC North is mostly, you got Minnesota is indoors. They got the Falcons, they got the Texans, they got the Cowboys.
There's no postseason, though. You don't know who you're playing.
Generally true, but we had the same argument about Brock Purdy. Like, you don't have to worry about bad weather as much in the year 2024.
Well, but Brock did, and the rain kind of almost did him in against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
it started raining even harder for Jordan Love on a final
but the rain
drive.
did in Love, too.
Yeah.
So that's an equal opportunity to do it. Okay, let me just ask you this. Like, what's the other option here? If you don't re-sign Jared Goff and you let him in free agency next year and he pulls a Kirk Cousins and goes to Atlanta or whatever, I mean, you're totally screwed. And the other thing, too, is this money, you're saying it's not an elevator at $50 million. That is not what $50 million gets you anymore. It's not going to get you Justin Herbert or Josh Allen. It's going to get you whoever's on the market right now. It's probably going to get you Dak in a few weeks. It's going to get you Trevor Lawrence and Tua. I think that Jared Goff is right in the mix with all those guys. Yes, he is not going to be an MVP candidate, most likely. But he is going to run a really good offense. He did it in L.A. He was fine in L.A. That's all you needed. And I think he's more than fine in Detroit. He's got a probably even better team around him. And also, he's got Ben Johnson right now, great offensive coordinator. This is all looking good for Detroit. And I'm thrilled to be a Detroit Lions fan.
Okay, so I think that Goff has really benefited from a couple really timely contract situations. First of all, he's the number 1 overall pick, so you get a nice little chunk of change there. Then they go to the Super Bowl, but again, you go back through that Super Bowl run, this was not a Goff Super Bowl. They paid him after that because the Rams had a bad habit of paying guys they shouldn't have, and that was paying Todd Gurley, and that was paying Herbert through the nose, Goff through the nose, pardon me, and he was a beneficiary there. Then they jettison him, and now he's coming off of this incredible playoff run where they should have gone to the Super Bowl. You're up by 3 scores on the road against San Francisco. And so, again, he's benefiting from really great timing. And I think that's sort of, first of all, good for him. Dude's made tons and tons of money. But that is also, every time it's like time for him to get re-signed, you can justify it. Because you're like, oh, he's coming off a Super Bowl. Okay, one where he passed for 1 offensive touchdown. Okay, now he's coming off of this run. Okay, great, because he was really good in the playoffs. The timing of his contracts have been really, really good. And again, good for him. He's the big winner here. But let's not rewrite it like Jared Goff is this top 5 quarterback. That's not true.
Wow, the timing also of his Instagram posts about his coach's girlfriend were not very well timed.
About that.
I don't know if there was some. McVay clearly hated Goff by the end, more so than his actual production on the field. I know the whole team kind of fell apart offensively, but I think that you're sort of denying that Goff had 2 really, really good years with the Rams, like kind of not close to MVP level, certainly as good as Dak had last year. He was, I don't know if he got it.
They're both 3-time Pro Bowlers. That's it. And Dak's an All-Pro, and Goff's never been an All-Pro.
Yeah, but Goff has certainly been top 10 level, and I think he was top 10 level last year. And Goff can do certain things and he can't do certain things. We know he's got a beautiful arm. We know he cannot make plays off platform. He's not going to run around. If you get to him, then you get to him. He's that kind of quarterback, but that's what you get for $50 million. And that deal is that he's number 2 right now behind Burrow. Yeah. He'll be number 8 in 2 years. You know that's how it's going to work. So this is a going rate. And by the way, $50 million sounds like a lot. Wait till the new NBA money kicks in and the backup shooting guard.
Totally different
or
thing.
Baseball. $50 million. Quarterbacks are still the most underpaid position in all pro sports. So when you actually say $50 million, it sounds like a big number, but it's really not if you think about what a quarterback does. In fact, even Goff is underpaid at 50. Give them a guy, he touches the ball every play. So I think that if you're the Lions, yes, it's a lot of money, but you don't feel bad at all today.
855-212-4227. Jesus is in the chat, says Lion fans are not thrilled today. You said they're thrilled. Lions fans are not thrilled.
I said I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I've jumped on that bandwagon. And I am thrilled. I am so excited.
Another NFC team, you get to just root for the Eagles and the Lions.
How can you love football and not love the Lions? I think it's an impossible. Unless you're in the NFC North, they're just so fun. Everything about them.
I know Pete doesn't like the Lions. Not a fan of Dan Campbell.
Well, Dan Campbell, yes. I do not like him going for it.
Yeah, I don't mind the Lions. Dan Campbell can go scratch.
Right,
but as well.
Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta, that is who does not want on that bandwagon? The fact that they got those 3 young guys, and Penny Sewell, probably the best left tackle in football, they just re-signed him. It's a very exciting team. It's a very glitzy, this is what we want. So finally, a breath of fresh air, offensively especially. This is very exciting.
855-212-4227. You believe in Jared Goff enough to give him this kind of contract? Is he going to take the Lions to the Super Bowl? You are welcome to weigh in. You're welcome to watch the show. Mentioned it before in the chat. That's where the Weedos and the coffee drinkers hang out. They're a very welcoming crew. Go hang with them. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. You're going to want to bookmark that page. You're going to want to subscribe to that page. It's a whole lot of fun. You can also listen to us on the absolutely free to download Odyssey app. It's crystal clear. It's a great user experience. We highly endorse it. On SiriusXM, channel 158, who we love, and of course, our incredible Infinity Sports Network affiliates. We see you guys on the phones. You want to talk about Jared Goff, and then also the repercussions on this. Now Dak Prescott's going to be in line. Tua is in line. We mentioned Matthew Stafford wants more money. Who else is looking for more money? Am I forgetting somebody?
You get Jordan Love.
Jordan Love might want more
Lawrence.
money.
Did you mention
Trevor Lawrence needs some money. I feel like Oprah. You get a contract. 855-212-4227. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Can I say one more thing about the Lions?
Yeah, we're talking about Jared Goff's new contract, so sure.
I love this team so much. Aiden Hutchinson is 23. Aileen McNeil, their superstar defensive tackle, is 24. Penny Sewell's 23. Terrion Arnold, who's going to be amazing, their new cornerback out of Alabama, who just wowed the crowd at the draft, 21. Brian Branch, who I wanted my team to draft, 23. They're so young. They have Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn is their defensive coordinator. The only thing standing in their way is Dan Campbell's stubbornness on fourth down. I can't believe this is America's team. I'm sorry. I don't know why. This is the it team. Maybe the Texans are second, but how can not everybody be a Lions fan? And now you got Jared Goff there. Jared Goff is the perfect placeholder for this team. I love it.
Okay, so I think that you're right. The Lions, it's fun to root for them because they've had such a down luck history and bad luck history and all that. But I think there are a lot of people who can't get past the Dan Gamble thing. And Dan is funny with the kneecaps and all that stuff. We got past that. He actually is a good X's and O's coach. But you mentioned the stubbornness. It cost him the game in Dallas. That was a regular season game where he kept going for it on the 2-point conversion, even though they kept getting backed up and backed up. He was like at the 20. Silly. And then obviously the NFC Championship game. You got a 3-score lead on the road. Like, you've got to close that game out. And so I do think there's some people who, can't get past it. Who are we talking to? I meant to ask you this before the show. Now we're just going to do it on the air.
Production meeting
on the air. Who did we talk to at the Super Bowl? We were like, is Dan Campbell going to be... is he going to, learn from his mistakes, or is he going to be even crazier?
I think it was Dimitrov. I think maybe Thomas Dimitrov, former Falcons. It was a former...
no, someone he played with.
And the person said absolutely not.
He's going to be worse, or better, however you want. He's going to go for more fourth downs, and he's going to be even more ballsy, and he's just going to be even more peak Dan Campbell.
More reason to root for the Lions. By the way, as an impartial fan, how do you not like this? It's chaos. It's great.
855-212-4227. We mentioned that Goff is just the latest quarterback to get a contract. There are other guys out there who are now looking to get paid. Somebody who will... have a very interesting season because they cannot get paid till next year is Brock Purdy, and that's where we find Brad in Sacramento wants to weigh in. Hey, Brad, what's up?
Hello, guys.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing? My question was, when is Brock Purdy allowed to go for a higher contract? Is there a certain amount of time they have to wait, or for rookie, or after, you know what I mean?
It's after this season, right,
yep,
Maggie? So it's a 7th-round pick, obviously Mr. Irrelevant, and it's a 4-year deal that they can negotiate after 3.
Yep, that's the standard with every rookie. After the 3rd year, you're eligible to get paid a bigger contract.
Okay, and my other thing was I totally agree with you about Jared Goff. I don't think he should have got that contract.
Yeah, listen, I get, Brad, thanks for the call. Good to hear from you. I get why they had to do this. You had a guy who you were just in the NFC Championship game. This is why the Rams paid Jared Goff right after they got to the Super Bowl. I get why you had to. I just ask you, how many guys would you want before Goff? It still doesn't make it a good contract just because you had to do it.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't make it a bad contract just because you had to do it. Because you had to do it. Bottom line is, good or bad, you had to do it. There's just simply no option. You can't say, you know what, we're on the brink of a Super Bowl, let's rebuild. So what were you going to do?
No. Here's the question. Do you think there's more pressure on Goff or on Dan Campbell to win a Super Bowl? Because if you're paying Goff all this money, the question... $53 million's got to buy you something. It's got to buy you a little pressure, a little expectation. Yeah. And I actually don't know how people would respond to that. Is Goff under more pressure to win the Super Bowl, or is Dan Campbell? I'm actually kind of leaning Campbell.
Well, it's funny. You're right, because Jared Goff skates a little bit.
I know.
In a way that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson do not. Because we all know, give him the $50 million, but he's not going to be Josh Allen. He's not going to do it all.
It's like pat on the head for a former number 1 overall pick.
I think there's some value to being a team player in the sense that you're not the guy who's going to do it all. You're just running the system. Yeah. We have a lower bar for Jared Goff than some of the other elite $50 million quarterbacks. This is a reality. And you're right. I do think a lot of pressure goes on Campbell. I think Campbell wants it that way, too.
That's fine. But it's if you're giving me Goff versus Prescott, who has more pressure to win a Super Bowl?
Oh, it's Dak. Nobody on earth has more pressure to win than Dak Prescott.
Should it be?
Well, he has a star on his helmet. That brings so much.
George is in L.A. Hey, George.
Hey, guys, I agree with both of you, but here's the problem. It is Dan Campbell, because Goff, like you guys were saying, is at the right place at the right time. But when you really think about it with the Rams, Sean McVay's proven the pudding that he brought in Stafford and they won the Super Bowl. And Goff is a very good quarterback, and he's a system quarterback. And unfortunately, they had to pay him because they have no option. But hey, it's good morning. Nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, George, I think I actually believe the Lions that they're okay with this. They said it was a priority to get it done. I think they showed that they are also winners in this trade. Rather, it wasn't just that the Rams won with Stafford, because the Lions have set themselves up now with a quarterback who, if things break right and they get back and get to the Super Bowl, like there might be a statue of Jared Goff in Detroit. You never know.
They love chanting Jared Goff. It just has a ring to it. Jared Goff, Jared Goff. I think really the way his name is constructed helps Jared Goff a little bit.
Is that what it is?
Like, it's like it's got Jared to Goff, 3 syllables, perfect. You can't, you can't really chant Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen.
Okay,
that's not as good a chant.
I actually like my chants with the other emphasis. So I like Jared Goff. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you.
Bogusch. Yeah, who
like
are the other?
Josh Allen. I like it when you extend the first person, the first name.
You could do Jalen Hurts, same exact thing as Jared Goff.
You just need the first name to have 2 syllables.
Nobody chants Patrick Mahomes. That's a hard. Can you do that chant?
Patrick Mahomes. It's not that great.
No, there's too many syllables.
Yeah, too busy. He's just like, raising another Lombardi while we were just figuring that out.
Dak Prescott would be a long first one. Dak Prescott. Yeah, nobody's chanting that. like Dak, like Cowboys fans, like, yeah, you better throw touchdowns, Dak, or we're gonna kill you.
The chants are more like pitchforks and like,
Oh, that's exactly right.
Pete's in Erie, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're good. What's up? Who has more pressure on them? Is it Dan Campbell or is it Jared Goff to win in Detroit?
I would say Dan Campbell. Jared Goff has proved through having a good play caller in L.A. and Detroit to be a well above average quarterback. Mm-hmm. But, Dan Campbell's, he's the one that's laying it on the line. He's the emotion. He's the almost like the heart and soul of that sideline. And I think he has more pressure.
Oh,
but
definitely.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, Pete, listen, I'm with you. I think, and thank you for the call, I think Campbell is the heart and soul. He's the identity. He's the face of the franchise, even more so than the quarterback. Weren't the Lions, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, weren't they wearing some kind of Dan Campbell-related shirt in the draft room or something? Like a tribute to Campbell?
I didn't see that, but that would not surprise me. I mean, he's
just got the thumbs up from Bogusch.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics, but they were definitely wearing Dan Campbell shirts.
But he's like alive and well. So like it's not, wasn't like let's rally around Dan.
Oh, I mean,
right.
Is there a team that loves their coach more than the Lions love Dan Campbell?
Well, just wait till you go for it on a couple more fourth downs and come up snake eyes. I don't know if they're going to love him as much.
I disagree. That team's all in.
Yeah,
they love
each
that dude.
Of the war room for the Lions wearing custom-made black jerseys with the name and playing number of Lions head coach Dan Campbell, according to the Detroit News.
Just to make sure that people didn't think it was Jack Campbell, their rookie linebacker from last year, right? Because that'd be weird to wear another player's jersey.
It's just kind of funny that they did that. It's like we just assume everyone's behind the head coach. Nobody had to specifically state that.
But I think, and maybe I'm totally wrong, of the 32 coaches, I'll bet you no team likes their coach more than the Lions like Dan Campbell. Everybody likes Dan Campbell. Remember Hard Knocks when everybody was crying and it was just a love fest?
Yeah. Remember the players only survey though. Which coach would you want to play for? Mike Tomlin won that.
Tomlin. That's old school.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, but still, like Tomlin, yeah, that's a good one. But I think Campbell's up there. Have you ever heard a Lions player criticize Campbell? Not really.
No, I think players like it, especially offensive players, like it when the coach shows faith in you. Put the ball in your hands on a fourth down. Don't punt it away. And so he's the ultimate epitome of that.
Also, every player I'm looking at the roster now, every single player on this team except for Jared Goff is 23 years old. They're all young and coachable. This is all happening. Detroit, Rock City. Oh my God. Everybody, they are so ready to go. And Jared Goff's perfect for this team because he's not going to take any attention away from all these young stars. They're going to get all the credit.
Yeah.
Because no one believes Jared Goff is doing it himself. He's just sort of running the show the way a quarterback should. It's kind of like Kirk Cousins. He's got a Kirk Cousins appeal, and that costs $50 million, Meg. I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to charge you for that. $50 million to get a guy like Jared Goff.
Can I pay you on Thursday? Let's maybe put the poll question up. who's feeling more pressure to win? Is it Dan Campbell? Is it Jared Goff after Goff signs a massive contract? Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. What did we miss last night?
Good morning, everybody. Those headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we can save you hundreds on your car insurance. So some of us need a deep cleanse this morning. The Knicks are falling apart. The Rangers can't win. The Mets still suck. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Oh, I was actually curious if you guys happen to watch it.
Drive out in front. Rebound. Kuznetsov scores! Well, the bird flew north. Carolina with a 2-1 lead at Madison Square Garden.
Feel free to.
Well, I was just wondering. Sorry, I jumped on you there, but I was curious if you guys saw
Tony Romo.
The Mets-Phillies game last night. Anyone see that game?
The Carolina Hurricanes, a 4-goal third-period barrage to take Game 5 from the Rangers 4-1, extending this series for a second time. Game 6 back in Raleigh on Thursday. Right after that happened, the Mets wasted a 4-1 lead on the Phillies.
Home ready in the batter's box. 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch. Check swing, but a ball appeared to have hit him in the hand. Now, did he swing the bat? What are they going to say? If not, he's been hit by a pitch and the tying run has scored.
Yep, that's what happened. Howie Rose, Mets radio. Edwin Diaz did hit Alec Boehm. Tying run comes in after being one strike away from winning. The Phils then won in the 10th, 5-4 on a Bryson Stott sac fly. Lastly, those beat-up Knicks, assuming they have 5 players, will host the Pacers in their 2-2 series at 8 Eastern tonight. In the NBA last night, the Celtics considered losing to the Cavs, who didn't have Donovan Mitchell or Jared Allen.
Tatum deep on the left side against Dean Wade. Garland jumps out at him. Tatum turns the corner. Kick out. Open. Jalen. 3. Got it! Jaylen Brown knocks down the killer 3 with 1:07 to go, and that's all that separates the Celtics from a 3-1 series lead.
Sean Grande said Maxwell, Celtics radio, Jaylen Brown's delayed knockout punch helping Boston escape Cleveland with that 3-1 lead, 109-102. Brown scored 27, 33 from Jason Tatum. Mitchell was out with a recurrence of his calf issue. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander alive and well for the Thunder, scoring 34 to pull them past the Mavs in Dallas, 196. That series is now 2-2. Luka Doncic managed just 18 points. He went 1 of 2 at the line with 10 seconds left, missing a chance to tie the game. The WNBA season begins tonight, including CaitlinClark debuting in Connecticut. She and the Fever flew private to that game as the league begins its chartering program, but some teams apparently still have no idea how they'll travel to their first road games. The Players Association saying yesterday there are, quote, a few more bumps than perhaps we needed.
I mean, no idea how to travel to the next game. Figure it out. I mean, it's totally ridiculous.
Listen, Angry Pete.
It's ridiculous.
Slow down.
Get
they
a
just
charter.
don't know if they have a private plane or if they're still flying commercial like they had been doing.
Okay, it's the opening night of the WNBA season. Let's figure this out now.
No. It's not the team. The teams who are playing tonight have gotten to where they needed to go.
I know, but even if they play tomorrow or the next day, they should know how they're flying.
Well, they're going to New York, so they can just take the train.
Right.
Or drive.
I'm sure
whatever.
the Fever will have private planes all the time.
Can I tell you one thing about that video of the women on the plane? They acted exactly like I would the first time I fly to private plane. I loved it. They're like, oh my God, it's a free mini can of Pringles. They were so excited
that
about
was me last year.
It was infectious. I've been on a private plane once, and I had the exact same reaction they
Just
did.
like pushing the buttons.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's just like seat goes back, seat goes forward. It's just like a regular plane, everybody. You just stand up a little
What's
more.
this red latch do?
But I've never seen 15 happier people in my life than the
Cheers into
team.
orange juice.
Yeah, they're all. It was really fun to see. Yeah, and if you guys ever flown on a private plane, my private plane was nothing like their private plane. That was gorgeous.
What was your private plane like?
Oh, it was just like a little. I've flown on a little plane like 3 or 4 times for a Dan Patrick show.
Yeah.
Just to like do commercial shoots, movies, no big thing.
Yeah.
But I was on one with Bob Costas. You guys know him?
What does he do?
Yeah. But there was
From basketball, right?
I would imagine Bob is probably between Bob and Dan Patrick.
Yeah.
Who's like occupying the story space there? Because they both got great stories. Is it just like volleying back and forth with stories?
Yes. Maybe Bob a little more. Bob's more of a story guy. But it was a little bit like the Titanic. There was a first class of this private jet, and then I was in steerage like Leo.
You couldn't come up with any better thing to show you first class in steerage than the Titanic.
Well, yeah, because there was this the plane was divided. Like the front, everyone had big seats that were executives and Dan and Bob.
You were
then
on the
in the back, me and the other Danettes, the 4 producers, were sort of in this little closet area. And Costas had to come by us. Yes, exactly. Costas had to come by us to get to the bathroom, and he's like, "Hey, fellas, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, Bob, what's it like up there?" He's like, and they're toasting champagne, and for some reason, we're only getting club soda. It was weird, and it was only
And there's no curtain. It's
no, there was
open.
a curtain. Oh, no, there was a
curtain.
And actually, these team planes.
It was a
Do
vault
not
door.
come this way.
I think, and I don't know anything about this. I've asked a lot of friends this. When you travel, when you're media and you travel with a team, they kind of put you back in steerage. These private planes are not all that nice. Isn't that the way it works?
Sometimes I think they put you in the front. And
whatever. I think when you're players or you're famous, you get a different treatment. So anyway, that was, hey fellas, I still remember that moment. He's like, oh, you guys are on this plane too.
When we exit, we're just going to open up a back door and you guys can just jump out while the plane is still taxiing.
Yeah.
Grab our bags.
So that was but actually those WNBA players, that video is awesome because they're like, yes, free Pringles, all the soda we want. This is like JetBlue on steroids.
I still can't get over Perloff describing an experience on a plane to the Titanic.
That's not good.
I'm just like,
I don't
thank God you're still here, buddy.
Well, I know. I mean, listen, the Titanic didn't end well. We landed.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Also, Leo, except for the end, did pretty well for himself on that boat, except for the ending.
Wait.
He got with Rose.
Yeah, I know, but for 3 days.
I know, but listen, if you're
love is eternal. I understand what you're saying, but
if you're gonna go out with a bang.
Hey, I have another question. Sorry, in aviation. Have you guys ever flown on a helicopter?
No, I don't want to.
And I will not.
Okay, because my daughter asked me that the other day. Flown on twice.
You have.
Terrifying.
Where'd you do that?
One was a touristy one that went around the Brooklyn Bridge.
Okay.
That was scary as all get out. And then remember, I did some draft profile on Josh Jacobs, and we went up on a helicopter together, and it was a huge private one.
Was it Grand Canyon or?
No, it was New York. It was He was here for the draft, and it was terrifying. It's the scariest thing ever.
Did he like it, or just you were just?
He loved
yourself?
it. He's a thrill seeker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was actually holding his hand the whole time. I was so scared.
He was holding your hands.
Yeah, honestly,
it's like 2 hands.
Maggie, you hate road trips.
Yeah.
Do we ever have an option of taking a helicopter or driving somewhere? Drive.
Thank you.
Helicopters are not good.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah, I knew that already. Even if I became super rich and famous and I took over NBC and they're like, you got to get places by a helicopter. Nope.
What about, yeah.
It's my last mode of transportation I would take.
I feel like if you were coptering to the Hamptons for summer weekends, you'd get over it pretty quick.
I don't think so.
I think you'd figure it out.
I mean,
I'd rather take a rickshaw. I do not want to do that.
The jitney, the bus?
Just give me the bus. Yeah, it's $18.
Right.
It stops every 40 seconds. I'll get there by next Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, not to bring us down, but I read about that Kobe Bryant crash all the time. It is.
Yeah.
I do not like helicopters.
No, thank you.
The Maggie and Perloff show will not travel via helicopter.
No.
No helicopter to apologize to Wemby.
Private jet. We could all get down like that, like the Fever did last night.
Why not? Charter plane.
Yeah, sorry.
Give me the Pringles.
Meanwhile, we're going to drive. All 5 of us are getting in a 2018 Honda Accord and driving to Texas.
Watch the air conditioner break somewhere around Virginia. It's shoot.
Much closer to planes, trains, and automobiles than what we saw last night.
We can all stand down, guys. Baby Scheffler is here, so Scotty can play this week's PGA freely.
I'm excited to be out here competing. I told my little man when I was leaving, I don't want to leave, but I got to leave. When I'm called to come out here and do things to the best of my ability, and so showing up this week, especially with the weather forecast the next couple of days, I know I had to be here today to get some practice in.
Quick dad tip. Baby Bennett's 6 days old. He doesn't know that you're gone. This is the time to leave. Dad,
that's what he said about the birth.
He doesn't know who he is.
Definitely not remembering that either.
Dad hasn't played since winning the Masters and in Hilton Head on back-to-back weekends last month.
Yeah, so by the way, we were like, this baby's coming any moment. That was a month ago. Either this poor woman has been going through it, or we were a little off on the timeline.
You felt a little mad that Scotty Scheffler, it took so long to have the baby.
We were talking about this. The Masters was April 7th.
We had the calendar was off. She was always due at the end of April. There's another golfer who, I forget his name. He was literally, she was coming, the baby was
Sam
coming that
Burns.
week. But Scheffler always had time to spare. It would have been early had she gotten in the labor at Augusta.
Well, yeah, but
That
I
was
think
a
when
little-
you're in the month, at the end of April,
Yeah.
early April is probably somewhat of a dicey time. But you're right. Scotty Scheffler is Mr. Family Guy. He might have been emphasizing it a little much.
No.
We didn't know what's happening here, guys.
They were trying to make him more interesting.
Yeah, that
because
Masters needed a storyline.
Exactly.
And they got it.
And it was
Who's
like
they?
those people.
I got.
We all know who they are.
I held my tongue the whole time it was happening. The problem was here, not there. Because I read the story. We were too far down, as if she was crowning on the Wednesday
it
of
wasn't
Augusta.
just us, but I think
It might have been.
This was the thing. Is like, let's make Scotty Scheffler as interesting as possible because they're doing something that not only they've already done, they already have a kid, but that everyone in the world does at some point, maybe.
Time out. Scotty Scheffler already had a kid? I didn't even know that during the story. Oh, my God. You're right. We completely overrated that entire narrative. Scotty Scheffler already had a kid?
We never do that.
What the heck? You're going to leave the Masters for your second child? What kind of psycho are you?
As a second child, I would totally understand if they stayed at the golf tournament.
Don't get started on this again. I'm going to get mad.
Okay.
Oh, it's the birth of your child.
Don't go down this road, please.
What about him leaving 6 days after
All
the
right.
child's born?
So, again, for the record, I'm going to be the Scotty Scheffler truther here. First child. They do not
I
have
thought they had a second child.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
right. Okay.
Nope.
Oh, sorry. I
This is
thought he
number
had a
one.
first child.
Peter,
Who
you-
did he say, though?
Yeah.
He's like, Bennett, Daddy has to leave. Oh, he's talking to the 6-day-old?
Yeah.
Oh.
Weird. Pete, do you have a problem with Scotty Scheffler being at the Masters? I mean, at the PGA, at Valhalla.
There's some time of removed, yeah, no problem. I'm saying, like, at the Masters, I mean, give me a break. You could go play another Masters next year. You're never going to see the kid for the first time.
I totally disagree with that.
I know you do.
We know.
But I really
we've gone down that road.
Yeah,
my
we've already
opinion.
been down this road. Anything else?
Non-Jared Goff NFL news. Defensive end Trey Hendrickson back at Bengals OTAs yesterday. He stayed away for 3 weeks after a trade request, after not getting the long-term deal he wanted. And more hockey, the Stars took a 3-1 lead on the Avalanche with a 5-1 win in Colorado. Now I'm done, guys.
Okay. Bogusch, thank you very much, and for getting all that right about Scheffler. I could have sworn it was the second kid. It's because someone emailed me to tell me that we were wrong the first time we were talking about this, and he already had a kid, and I never looked it up.
Was it that guy that leaves me out of everything?
No, that's Nick in Texas. No, it wasn't Nick.
It feels like Scotty Scheffler already had a kid. He already had dad energy in a huge way.
Maybe that's it.
Called
Coming
being
up,
middle age.
we've got major news from rookie OTAs. We'll get to that next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Biglotti's got something to say. Infinity's mice. He's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie Perloff can't Can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free. He misses more. Co-stars and the crew, those were the days. Pete cries out, boo-hoo, boo. Bring it back, or can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh, make it right.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man.
Bogusch weeps. He's got the road trip blues. Left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio. Can't believe his eyes. But Bogusch stuck at home. His heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembanyama, Perloff took the fall. But it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall. A loser in his own right, can't catch a break. Road trip dreams shattered, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. Bogusch counting the minutes, ticking like a clock, while Perloff's cruising highways, Hilarion tall. San Antonio shining, the city's calling their names. Bogusch sitting home.
30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, rookies in OTAs for the NFL, and a lot of eyes on Drake Maye and his fit in New England. Now, this caught a lot of people's attention. Here is Jared Mayo, the new head coach for the Patriots, saying Drake Maye has a lot to work on.
Early impressions of Drake, look, I mean, he has a lot to work on. He has a lot to work on, but I have no doubt that he'll put the time in. So, you know, I know you guys saw him out, well, you didn't see him out here yesterday, but, you know, he was here all night trying to get, you know, on the same page as everyone else. So.
Yeah, to me, this was a whole lot about nothing. If the coach can't say this about a guy who not only has been in the building for 2 days trying to learn the playbook, but also someone who we know was a bit more of a project than the rest of the players. I get it. You want to have this like company line that your quarterback can do no wrong. Jared Mayo saying that Drake Maye has a long way to go, it has a lot to work on, pardon me, is just the truth and not even that's not a bad truth to tell. That's fine.
First of all, it's rookie minicamp. How could you have a lot to work on? I mean, you're playing in shorts, basically. You should look good. Meanwhile, you got Bo Nix, who's a great golfer in Denver, according to his coach. Everybody has positive things to say. So even the hint of negative has to make you nervous if you're a Patriots fan.
Wait, hold on. Sean Payton said Bo Nix, he compared him to a golfer that he was boring. He's a good golfer who always hits the fairways and greens.
Well, in a very positive way. That's exactly what Sean Payton wants.
Okay,
that was the highest compliment he could give Bo Nix.
So I guess like I'll disagree with you on what's there to work on.
Yeah, you're playing against. Yeah, these are guys who aren't even going to make the team.
The playbook. And that was one of the big things they were talking about with Drake Maye is he was up all night on Friday night trying to learn the playbook. It seems like the guy's like as committed and dedicated. And yeah, he's got a lot to work on. He just got there. He doesn't know anything.
Time is running out on the Drake Maye experiment, Maggie. You know it. I know it. We all know. No, the funny thing is, too, you know why
we are like that sometimes.
I'm hesitant to actually rip Drake Maye in the Patriots situation. Yeah, the receivers aren't good. A lot of things we said about Drake Maye, I was one of the many people who didn't buy Justin Herbert coming into the league. I saw him in Oregon, and he just wasn't that accurate. It wasn't all there. He wasn't that consistent. And, man, you could see by game one that he had it. The fact that, like, nobody was shocked that Tua went ahead of Herbert in that draft.
That's true.
So I think Drake Maye has a chance to be a Justin Herbert type where we actually see him on the field and the talent just pops. It's really, for me, it's really hard to predict how a quarterback's going to end up. I did not see C.J. Stroud coming last year. I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, I jumped on that bandwagon since then, as I am known to do. But it's really hard to predict, even after a rookie minicamp, what a quarterback's going to do. But I did struck me as funny that Jerod Mayo said that. Is he trying to lower the expectations for Drake Maye in New England? Because the guy is coming in with, it's a number 3 pick, huge expectations.
Yeah, but I think of all the guys, he might be the one who actually sits in favor of Jacoby Brissett. So it's not like it's Caleb Williams where you know for sure he's starting week 1. Him saying he has a lot to work on, to me, is if coach can't say that about a rookie coming in and we have to handle these guys and have to be so fragile or whatever, I don't want to be worried about like hurting his feelings or whatever. Like at some point you're going to hit a little adversity, and this is barely, like this is a nothing to me.
Yeah. No.
I want my coach to be able to say that a rookie who's been there for 48 hours has a lot to work on. No kidding.
Well, right. I'm not worried about Drake Maye's feelings. I'm just worried about, wow, is he going to be good this year? That's sort of what I'm worried about. Because
is it even about this year?
You're probably right. But if you tank and, you would presumably tank to get another quarterback. What if you just drafted your quarterback, you want to win something, what are you going to get? Next year's draft, I don't think is spectacular by any means.
Well, you wouldn't get another quarterback, but let's just say, the Jacksonville Jaguars did this. I just think they probably chose wrong with Trayvon Walker, but they had the back-to-back number 1 overall picks, and you had Trevor Lawrence, and you knew you were staying with Lawrence.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a whole debacle in and of itself, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't know. I hope we're not getting so soft as like a football watching and media that we have to jump on this and say, oh my gosh, how could a coach say this? How dare he? Like, this is the truth. They all have a lot to work on. And if we're going to say Jerod Mayo can't say that, or that it's somehow now the locker room is going to lose confidence or any of that nonsense, like this is why people hate the media when we take things like this and blow them totally out of context. There's
not a single person saying any of that. Is that possibly true?
Plaxico Burress said it. I know that.
Did he really?
Yeah,
he ripped Mayo for this?
Definitely. Or just said that he's not sure about May, and this was maybe an example of why, in the negative column.
There's a lot of skepticism. Okay. I don't know about all that, but there's a lot of skepticism about Drake Maye. It feels like the negative to me, the takeaway is, oh man, he's not ready. I think you nailed it before. I think they're going to try and set up where Jacoby Brissett takes the bullets in weeks 1 through 8.
But here's the thing, like you cannot be sold on Drake Maye because you weren't sold on last year's tape or being in the ACC or whatever you want to his footwork, whatever you want to look at and say, I'm not sold on this guy. Not because Jerod Mayo said he has a lot to work on when he's been in the office in the facility for a day.
It was confirmation bias. Like, oh man. I mean, he saw, he got him out on the field. It's like, oh God, this guy has a lot to work on.
What have they been doing for the last 6 months if now they realize they got a lot to work on? EJ, you don't like this.
I don't like it. I just feel like I don't want to hear my coach day one saying my quarterback has a lot to work on when I see other coaches with their rookie quarterbacks not saying that. I think it'd be one thing if we heard Sean Payton, we heard Eberflus, we heard those guys being like, hey, our quarterback, man, he's got a lot to work on. I said, all right, well, he's right on par with everybody else. But Mayo almost made it sound like Maye is way further behind than these other guys. And I personally don't want to hear the thing that he's raw. The guy played a lot of football. Like, that's something that Bill Belichick said during the draft I didn't understand. The guy started 2 whole seasons. He's played a lot of football. He should not be this raw.
I get it, but he has been labeled like a bit more of a project than the Caleb Williams or the Michael Penix or
that's
even
a problem. I could show you 10 throws where he throws in the dirt in front of a receiver. I could show you none of those with Jaden Daniels. Not a single one.
But is it a problem? I mean, it's the Patriots who are definitely rebuilding. If anyone can be patient, I think it can be them. And I think when people say, oh, he's like a player coach or former players, I think former players tell it like it is maybe a little bit more. Maybe not. But I think Dan Campbell would tell you like it is. I think Vrabel tells you like it is. And so these guys like Jared Maye, I think he's not sugarcoating it, and I wonder if the rest of the team appreciates that.
But weren't we moving away from the Belichick, Vrabel way? Wasn't Mayo supposed to be bringing in a breath of fresh air? I mean, what are we doing here? Are you actually going to be yourself, or are you going to try and be Bill Belichick? Which one is it, Jared Maye?
He's still a Belichick assistant. Never forget that. Coming up, we've got some more schedule news for you from the NFL. Who the Cowboys playing in Week 1, we'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, everyone has their assignments. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, particularly Tom Brady. Tom Brady is going to be broadcasting for Fox now, Perloff, and he gets his first game, the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Cleveland Browns. Let's hear Brady.
In this new role, I know the Cowboys, how important they are to this network. They got great storylines. Come on, Dak Prescott, let's see if he can finally come through. One of the great defensive players. Did that just slip out?
All right, so that was Brady at the Fox Upfronts, which is when they get all the talent and they try to sell to advertisers all the great things that are going to be on all these networks. But he's talking about Dak Prescott. Can he finally come through? And the whole audience starts to laugh a little bit. And listen, if Brady is going to be, I didn't even think that was that candid, but, you know, this is going to be anytime Brady says anything, especially anything critical about a quarterback, it's going to become big news. And you didn't think, though, Dallas at Cleveland is a debut that is worthy of someone like the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, Tom Brady, it's going to be a significant game, his first game, and he's going to Cleveland. I don't know. It's like we were worried that is Tom Brady going to be able to adjust to this lifestyle where he has to go travel 18 weeks a year? No, actually 22 weeks a year. And I just think that, like, I thought maybe SoFi in L.A. for his first game, maybe in Dallas, maybe New York. Sorry, is that really judgmental of me to say, oh, no, he's going to Cleveland?
This is a great game. By the way, Cleveland's a great city, but this is a great game. Dallas, Cleveland, that's really fun. I love this opener for...
Really? I don't know. Cleveland has never delivered on these exciting games. Like, why is Cleveland an exciting game? I'd rather see Dallas against a lot of other teams.
Well, okay, but let's get healthy Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Lots of pressure on Deshaun. Let's see Dak Prescott against a really good defense. I mean, yeah, let's get out of the gates with a bang here. You got Tom Brady in Cleveland. I love it.
I don't know. And I didn't love, going back to yesterday, I didn't really love the Chiefs-Ravens. I feel like we've seen that game too. You really,
we literally just did.
That's so funny that you're really excited about the Cowboys-Browns. It was more of a visceral reaction. I'm like, Cowboys-Browns, that's pretty good. But that is not, for me, like the high. I mean, there's going to be 10 Cowboys games that rate higher than this.
Well, listen, anytime you have Cowboys, the cream of the crop Cowboy games are definitely anytime they play San Francisco and Green Bay, right? Those are the two that really stand
that's
out.
What I'm talking about.
And those are just feel like there's so much history, let alone the other NFC East teams. But like those are the ones that seem like they have just so much layered on top. Yeah, Dallas and Cleveland, maybe there's not, don't throw out the record books when those two teams, are on the gridiron. But still, I love this game. It's really intriguing. And of course, they're going to start Brady on a Fox, Dallas Cowboys game. They're hoping he's the next Troy Aikman and bigger than that.
Well, right. But I think, they play the AFC North this year, the Cowboys. You could have done Cincinnati with Burrow. You could have done the Ravens with Lamar. And you could have done the Steelers, Cowboys-Steelers, most famous sort of matchup. So I think Cleveland's the fourth place because there's no connection. I can't remember, and I'm trying to think of a great Browns-Cowboys game. It just feels a little random to me. Yes, am I going to watch it? Oh, yeah. And can I understand why Fox protected that game? Big time. They also have, the Cowboys have the Lions, my new team, the Texans. There's a lot of games that are a little spicier.
Well, maybe is there Thanksgiving, you really wouldn't be able to do that because the Cowboys and Lions both play. But anyway, so that's what's going on with Tom Brady.
I like what you're saying. Imagine Texans, Cowboys, Thanksgiving. Feels a little like Texas A&M, that rivalry. That'd be really cool. I mean, that's the thing. The Browns, Cowboys, they know everyone's watching that game. So might as well.
And here's the thing about Brady, right? With him starting on this broadcasting career, this is the job. When the job tells you to go to Cleveland, you go to Cleveland. When the job tells you to go to Buffalo, you go to Buffalo. When the job tells you to go to Philadelphia, where he's probably going to get skewered and people throw things at him and middle fingers, that's the job now. You can't be like, oh, I'm Tom Brady. I only want to, call games in, Dallas and LA and New York. And I think the best part is, hopefully, I would imagine he has to get a Pats game, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
that's the number one thing. Now I know it's weird because Belichick's not there anymore, but Brady being critical of anything that the Patriots do, that is definitely leads the weekend in terms of news.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. Philly kind of likes Tom Brady. We had one big game against him and we beat him.
Yeah,
not to brag.
Well, you had 2 big games against him. He beat you in one, and you beat him in one.
But you say that's a job, which actually leads to my next question. That is the job. Is that the permanent job for Tom Brady? Him showing up the upfronts? Some people read that as like, oh, he's telling the advertisers, I'm actually going to be there. It still feels a bit tenuous that he might want to come back at some point. He's out on the road watching this, what he considers inferior quarterback play. Is he going to get the itch, Maggie?
Well, 2 things working against him. One, he did accept this job, which I don't know how ironclad this contract is. And the other is he definitely wants to own part of the Raiders. So if that comes through, then he would have to relinquish that after they've gone so far down the road on it. I always want to keep a little space for a Brady comeback, but it looks like a flicker.
Yeah, the upfront to some people was the death knell. But you've seen Jason Witten come back and play.
That's true.
Matt Ryan did broadcasting. He wanted to come back.
That's
Philip Rivers wants to come back. It'll be interesting. You're going to hear Tom Brady wanting to be out there. Can you imagine watching this game? A quarterback's going to miss an open receiver, and he's going to say, "I could have done that right now."
Do you think he'll do that?
That's why I want to see this game. Like this is the reason why they picked this game outside of the Cowboys is this is probably the sassiest you'll see Tom Brady. Like you give him a Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson affair. I mean, who knows what the hell's going to happen? I was so happy when I saw that this was the game because I've watched Deshaun Watson play for the Cleveland Browns. And the idea that Tom Brady's going to hold his breath when Deshaun Watson does something stupid out there and the headlines that's going to make, or Dak Prescott fumbling the ball later, throwing a late interception on the road. I mean, it's made right there. This is the sassiest matchup we could have got. And they put Tom Brady on it. To me, this is what you wanted. I love this.
What are you talking about? It's 2 of the cleanest quarterbacks in the NFL. Those guys never. Deshaun never throws picks. He does not throw. That's his thing.
You made a little picks because you got to complete the pass to somebody.
No. Deshaun will eat the ball before he throws it into coverage. That's his. Okay. I'm telling you, like there's not going to be and Dak. You say Dak is it's not the playoffs. Dak's going to be good, right?
You know what? It's so funny about Dak Prescott, and this is going to be Brady's first game. And listen, I thought Troy Aikman, used to be critical of Cowboys, Cowboys quarterbacks, even though he was a former Cowboys quarterback. But it's funny about this whole thing about Dak. It really changed with him. I was going back over some of his playoff history, not to spin towards Dak, but going through some of his playoff history, Dak was like a good playoff quarterback up until the moment when he just wasn't, when he ran into the 49ers.
Yeah.
He was. That game against Green Bay, his first game, that debut, that was an incredible game. They should have won that game. Cowboys, he was awesome. He scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns in that game to come from behind, and it was just, you played against Rodgers. He was just better that day. I mean, you're talking about, playing against prime Russell Wilson, beating him. Dak was a good playoff quarterback, again, until he ran into San Francisco, and they just couldn't beat San Francisco at home. Then they couldn't beat San Francisco on the road. Then they lost that terrible game to Green Bay last year. Let's not also forget, he sent Tom Brady into retirement. Dak Prescott in that playoff game in Tampa, that was one of his best games ever, period. He was phenomenal in that game.
Wait, are you on Team Dak now? I love this.
I don't know if I'm on Team Dak. He clearly has this, he's got this thing with the 49ers. They have his number, and that Green Bay game was the biggest belly flop disappointment on both sides of the ball. Everyone has to wear that.
Because I'm a good Dak apologist. Here's where I would go, too. The fact that you see 2 losses, one to Green Bay and one to San Francisco, where there was no one to throw to except CeeDee Lamb because they have not surrounded any talent, and he kept forcing it to Lamb, and it caused all sorts of problems. That's specifically in the 1913 game. That was a huge problem. Dak had no confidence in his receivers and was just trying to make a play, and then That game against Green Bay was a joke. I don't know. CD did not show up at all.
Yeah,
and Dak still managed to get 400 yards.
They ran the ball all over him. I mean, Dak, they're playing from behind, so that's why he got a lot of those yards.
I know. I do love that final. He had 400 yards in a playoff game. That if you had no idea of context, that looks pretty good.
I mean, he's got a couple bad ones. The loss to the Rams, too, was not a great one. He did lose to Jared Goff on the way to Goff. Was it the same year? It might not have been the same year.
That was Goff, yeah.
Yeah, on the year they went to the Super Bowl. Was that the divisional round? And the wild card round? Whatever. No, it must have been divisional because the NFC Championship game was the Saints. But it's
a team sport. It's a team sport. I mean, you're doing the big.
But look at what Tom Brady just said. We just played the clip where he's like, is Dak going to be able to finally come through? Brady's just saying what we're all thinking.
Definitely.
It's just a little revisionist because Dak had some really good games that they lost. So his playoff record looks really bad. And he's also had some terrible games. Don't get it twisted.
The thing. He's supposed to have evolved.
It's not all bad.
He's supposed to have evolved and got better in the playoffs, and that's not what's happening.
Fair.
I mean, you could take the Tampa Bay game. He was awesome, but that doesn't really count in most people's minds. It's the losses. And I just think the Cowboys just sort of giving up against the Packers was so embarrassing. That was the worst loss of all of these. There's no way they should have got blown out at home. That was terrible. So the problem is the trend.
Yeah, the trend is not great. But again, there is that Tampa Bay win. But you're right. The trend is just not awesome. 855-212-4227. We have a poll question out there today, yes, about who is feeling more pressure. Is it Jared Goff? Is it Dan Campbell? Jared Goff, as we're sitting here talking about the NFL, Jared Goff signed a huge contract yesterday, contract extension, over $200 million, $170 million guaranteed. He's going to make about $53 million per year. That's second only to Joe Burrow. So who's feeling more pressure? EJ, what are the early results?
So right now we have 55% saying Dan Campbell is under more pressure, with about 45% saying Jared Goff is under more pressure. So pretty close poll here.
We got to put up a second poll. And how should we do? We got to do the Jared Goff versus Dak Prescott. Who feels more pressure out of those two? Or you could ask who's the better quarterback out of those two?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so close.
Who would you rather be?
Who would you rather? Well,
who would you rather have as your quarterback?
Yes. Jared Goff just got $50 million. I would not mind being him. But then again, Dak Prescott has got plenty of cash,
well,
too.
We already know what you'd spend it on, which is charter flights and free Pringles.
Oh, my God. Well, no. But the thing
charter flights just for the free snacks.
If I'm good enough to be a quarterback making $50 million, someone else is flying me around. So that's, I don't know what I would spend the $50 million. I would like that problem.
I have a question for you guys. When it came to Tom Brady and him calling out Dak Prescott, since you're saying, let's see if he shows up. Like you guys said, he's been a good regular season quarterback. Do you think it was fair for him to blast Dak Prescott like that? I enjoyed it purely because I love the sassiness. I want Tom Brady at his most sassy when it comes to doing his job. But it did feel kind of like weird. Like, why is Dak Prescott got to come through in a week 1 game? What difference does that make?
No. Here's the thing. Tom Brady's coming off the roast. I mean, he's in joke mode. You can't get out of that. And that was a layup sitting. I'm kind of half kidding, but I do think that influenced him. It seemed like that was a big success for Tom Brady, and I think he's going to try and be sassy in a good way.
That's so funny. He's been hanging out with Kevin Hart now and Nikki Glazer, and now everyone's just going to be cannon fodder.
As long as you don't talk about Robert Kraft, everything is on the table.
Yeah, make sure Kevin Burkhardt gets that memo. Don't mention no cracks about Robert Kraft and happy endings. But here's the thing about Brady. I think also this off the cuff saying Dak Prescott, see if he finally comes through. I think you just got a little window there into how other quarterbacks might see Dak Prescott. And there might be a lot of respect, and it's hard to get to the Super Bowl, and it's hard to get to the title game, to the conference title game, but maybe just that even slip just sort of tells you, hey, this is what a quarterback like Tom Brady actually thinks about Dak.
Yeah.
Good, but not good enough.
I don't know. I think Tom Brady is just coming with from an event with a bunch of comedians. Is like, what's my I think he was sitting there writing, trying to come up with a funny line. He's like, people will like this.
Yeah,
and people do.
He had that pause just to wait for the laughter game, and then he delivered. He knew exactly what he was doing there. I totally agree with that.
I like Peyton Manning's delivery so much more than Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I can feel the effort when he tells a joke.
You mean joke delivery, not delivering a football.
No. The more important one now. Who's a better Saturday Night Live host? I still think I give the Mannings a slight advantage. Tom Brady, even that joke, it feels a little like you can feel the effort. You never saw it on the football field. The joke telling, I don't know if Tom Brady's naturally funny.
I think he'll be good in the booth. This is an unnatural setting. You know,
Well,
you're
I
up on
know,
stage
but
with Michael Strahan, and
he
like, all
kinda-
eyes on you.
He kind of bombed at the roast, too.
Did kind of bomb at the roast. He was not funny. He was one of the least funny people there. And you would think he has the best joke writers. Like, you got to give Brady, the person who's being roasted, when they get their rebuttal at the end, he's got to have the A++ material, and they didn't give him that.
So on Sunday of week 1, when we're watching this Cowboys-Browns game, is Tom Brady going to be funny? Is it going to feel forced? Will he be nervous? I mean, he might be a little nervous.
Yeah, and listen, it's his first game, so you give him a little grace. But I think it's going to be a good game, so he should have a lot. I don't see either team getting blown out here.
Yeah, I
Do we
mean,
have an early line on that game, by the way?
I think it's Cowboys plus -3. The funny thing is, Romo immediately hit the ground running. He was good, and he's gotten worse.
Right.
Where Brady, I think Brady's going to have to ease into this and relax a little bit.
He did mention, he's like, I was just playing against these guys. Like, I know I was just
Mm-hmm.
preparing for them, but be careful because you don't want to rely totally on that.
I'm seeing here, by the way, Browns -1 right now.
The game.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
in
I
Cleveland.
swear I saw yesterday Cowboys.
Maybe the line moved.
Yeah. It opened with Cowboys 1.5. Now it's already moved. I don't know what could happen. And maybe Tom Brady's commentary gave the Browns 2 points there, but
We've seen stupider things move the line. 855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on our poll question today off the Jared Goff contract. Who is more pressure to win a Super Bowl? Is it Goff? Is it Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Lions? Coming up, lots more to do, including expectations for one other big NFL QB. Get to that next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. I got a lot of nerves going right now.
Why?
Minnesota, Denver playoff series. We have a huge show bet.
Me too.
If the T-Wolves win, you have to eat a lime jello tuna fish concoction with olives. It looks like somebody basically took barf and made it into jello. I have to eat Rocky Mountain oysters, which of course is Bull's private parts. Yeah. And it looks like now the Nuggets may have controlled this, gained control of the series. So I'm not scared of eating those. But the other thing too is I put a big bet on DraftKings on the T-Wolves at plus 170, and I thought that was I've already spent the money. I thought I won that. How's your betting going of late, Maggie?
Well, it's just so funny you mentioned that. Like, I haven't logged into my DraftKings account, I guess, in a while, and now I'm realizing why. I lost the last 5 bets that I made.
Mm-hmm,
I am on an all-time cold streak. The last bet that I won was the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
Let me hear the losses.
Okay, I bet for some reason, I think this might have been, in my defense, this might have been a little bit wine-induced. For some reason, I bet UConn women alternate line that they were going to beat Iowa by 6.5 points.
Oh,
that was off.
6.5 points.
It was a live bet.
Even if they had made the right call on that charge, you were not, or that illegal pick, you were not getting that bet.
Yeah, I was live betting. Don't drink and live bet. Then it was a bunch of draft. I lost all my draft wagers. J.C. Latham to be a top 5 pick? No. Bo Nix to go in the second round? No.
Not so much.
Raiders to draft Michael Penix? No. Then your bet, which was a hedge, under 4.5 quarterbacks to go when you would bet EJ over and you were just trying to emotional hedge. That also lost.
All right, I got to pay you back for that. I was going to pay you out of my Timberwolves winnings, but now because I couldn't win at home. Yeah, that's funny. I also have a bet on the Knicks to win this Pacers series. Also, money that I already spent because I thought that was over, and not so much. NBA playoffs have a funny way of not going exactly how I expected them to.
Didn't you also claim that the Mavs OKC series was also over?
And when I went to bed at halftime last night, I was celebrating that prediction as well. What the heck, Mavs? I mean, come on. You're
Make
at
a
home.
free throw.
Put it away.
They went 9 for 19 in the second half from the free throw line.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I mean,
Bogusch,
they didn't hit much from the field either.
From 3-point, I think they were worse. They were 3 for 14 in the second half.
Yeah.
I believe.
Not good, Mavs.
Shea Gilgeous show, very good.
He was awesome.
I don't know. Not my kind of player.
32 points.
27 shots to get 34
game.
points. It's 2024 in the NBA. Hit a three-pointer, EJ. Hit a three-pointer.
Give me a break.
Mid-range king, that'll get you to the second round.
He's in the second round. What are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Proof of concept.
Oh, he might get to the next round. He just won a key game on the road. They have home court back.
Only because Luka's hurt. That's an asterisk.
All these
series
excuses because he said that OKC was done before the show yesterday, and now he's upset.
Cool.
Okay.
And when I told him it's not over.
And then Luka's grabbing at his knee. I'm like, man, Luka's really hurt. He's like, every player does that. I'm like, do they?
Yeah, by the way, that is an NBA.
Saying, oh, Luka's hurt. That's the only reason why they're winning. Come on.
The NBA, if you miss a shot, you immediately go to the injury. That's the one guaranteed move that every great player has.
Well,
I mean, LeBron is the worst of the worst in that, but all of them do it.
Hey, by the way, speaking of LeBron, courtside last night for the Cavs. Watching Cavs Celtics. Am I just stepping all over your update?
With wine.
He had a whole bottle.
Yeah, well,
that
he had a
dude's
bottle
my
of wine
spirit
courtside?
animal.
Not like a full bottle.
BYOB.
No, but it was a bottle.
Get lost.
Yeah, but it was like a personal serving bottle.
don't
like a mini bottle?
It wasn't like a bottle.
It wasn't?
I didn't think so.
Oh, I was giving LeBron way too much credit. That is so baller, just to have a full-on bottle of wine.
Baller.
I don't know. This
Straight up bottle.
Dude,
bottle
you're in an arena. Order a beer. What are you doing? I'm not down with this
bottle's
wine
pretty
order.
big. I don't know if it's just personal. I'm looking at it now. It's bigger than the large vitamin water that's sitting underneath him too.
Also, think about it. It's LeBron James. He's an extremely large human. So, of course, the
So it
bottle's
looks
going to
small.
look smaller. That is like a personal bottle to you and I.
But you can't. Nobody's allowed to bring a bottle of wine to the front row of a basketball game.
LeBron in Cleveland, he could bring a cadaver out there. No one's going to say anything. Sorry, that got dark.
He could bring Darvin Ham's cadaver out.
Yeah. It was so weird in broadcast hearing Spiro Dees be like, Cavs legend LeBron James in the house. I'm like, he's in the NBA. Like, I know he is a Cavs legend, but like usually you don't hear that about guys who are currently playing.
How about Lakers loser LeBron James?
Yeah, that'd be an amazing way to.
Wow.
There was a little bit of chatter discussion out there on the social medias. Is Cleveland actually a fit for LeBron moving forward because he can bring Bronny there?
Well, that was the other question. Is he there scouting the Cavs or the Celtics?
The word was that he left after Max Drew to something stupid, and he was all right. Time to go. It was like 1 minute left.
Okay,
he's seen enough.
But here's the thing, shocker. But here's the thing: what if he's trying to look for destinations for Bronny to be drafted? If it's not LA, if it's not with him, maybe the Cavs would do him a solid for all the winning he did for them.
Oh no, it's got to be with him. It's got to. He cannot. I know he's sort of said things that it's not all about being reunited with Bronny. To me, that'd be a huge disappointment if he let Bronny get drafted elsewhere. Also, a lot of reports say the Lakers are going to draft Bronny. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did. But like what? Yeah, and you're right. What's the point of trying to get Bronny drafted if it's not for them to play together?
I did see that. Well, the one thing I was going to say is that if LeBron's going to retire anywhere else, he should retire in Cleveland.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, so if there's any thought process of, okay, I want to play with Bronny, but I got to end my career maybe somewhere else because the Laker thing just doesn't look great, Cleveland would be the only place I could feel good about him retiring. I would never want to see him retire in a Hornets uniform because they drafted Bronny.
No, but I've maintained, Pete does, I've maintained, I think that the 76ers, I think he likes Maxey. I think he likes Maxey, I think he likes Philly, and I think he likes Dallas. The thing about Philly is Embiid ever going to be healthy, but Dallas, I could see him.
I think he needs a complementary player. Like Dallas Luka's another version of him. So I think Philly would be a better fit because you have Embiid. He needs something different than him. But by the way, I don't even want him in Philly. Why would we want a 40-year-old player who's probably going to be injury prone next to an injury prone center? How do people get excited about LeBron at this age? Am I being too negative on him?
I'd be excited. I have more faith in him finishing a season than Embiid.
I don't know. Can you imagine Dallas, the defensive, how Jason Kidd's going to hide LeBron, Luka, and Kyrie?
Well, that's Isaiah Likely. Step on up. I don't know. Somebody. What is it? Derek Lively.
Yeah,
Sorry, Derek Lively.
I mean, the fit in Dallas is not ideal. I do agree with Perloff on that. It's a lot of ball dominant.
I mean, it's a lot of talent. But by the way, I like what you're saying. Maybe you said you didn't think NFL players could play in the NBA. Isaiah Likely, the Ravens tight end, would be a great fit on that Mavericks team.
You need someone from the Ravens to finally come play some defense.
I think that's a perfect mix. He's not going to need the ball. That being said, we're overcomplicating it. LeBron is staying in LA and Bronny is going to the Lakers. You heard it here. No, but that does seem to be the reporting out of the combine, the NBA draft combine. A lot of insiders are hinting the Lakers are really making that move. And Bronny's going to the NBA. We need it. We need to see them together, Maggie. You have to make this happen.
Come on. You want me to call Jeannie Buss?
It's going to be so cute. Bronny and LeBron. Like after the game, they go home together and like, I don't know.
Win
Bronny.
30 games, everything.
Bronny was playing against Air yesterday, but he did perform very well at the
Yeah.
combine.
Yeah.
And that's something that needs to be said.
But did you see how tall he was?
6'1"?
6'1.5".
Yeah.
He's
That
never
is-
not been listed 6'4", and he was 6'1.5" in sneakers.
How many times on this show did I say you can't draft a 6'2" combo guard in the second round? And he wasn't even 6'2".
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. He's been listed at 6'4" this whole time, and he's
Always.
6'1".
He's never looked 6'4". I mean,
That's what they put him on paper
Yeah,
as.
they've always put him there.
6'1.5".
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, that's
kudos
typical.
for him to go to the combine. He has to go to the combine because he has a lot of work to do. But listen, we see guys go to the combine all the time. They don't want to get measured.
Yeah.
They don't want to participate. He's really going to do the whole gauntlet. I'm giving a participation trophy, but still.
I mean, and he performed well. I mean, those shooting drills are kind of no joke, and he was shooting the lights out.
I mean, the one person
That surprised me a little bit.
I don't know if, again, I don't want to step on you, Bogusch, but the one person who should not have gone to the combine is very clear. Zach Edey runs worse than me. I mean, that is, I don't know if you guys seen the clip yet.
I mean, can they
it's
set up
bad.
something a little more official looking for that 40? You're basically running it on the corner of the gym by the bleachers. It looks so janky.
He shouldn't have even gone to that combine. He should have stood on his game tape. That was bad.
Rich Eisen wouldn't even have run that 40. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, but
was
nobody
bad,
else
though.
looked like Zach Edey. Zach Edey looked like he didn't know how to run.
It was a little clunky.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a heater after the tournament. Now I worry that he's going to fall again.
This might be the worst I've ever seen when it came to height disparity based on what is listed. Because not only do you have Bronny being 6'1" when he's listed 6'4", Stephon Castle, national champion at UConn, listed at 6'6" on his Twitter bio. He says he's 6'7". He comes in at 6'2" yesterday.
Oh.
6'2".
Guys, it's not a dating app. Like, you got to be somewhere around the truth on these things, don't you?
I mean,
No,
They get
unbelievable.
smoked out.
It's automatic 2 inches in high school basketball. Automatic 2
But this
inches
is
off the
four.
top.
Half a
4.
foot.
This is
Yeah, I know
4.
that was a
It's
little.
like adding Billy Jock alone to your height.
But I don't think Bronny going from 6'1.5" to 6'4" is bad.
That's a crusher, I think.
Oh, that's bad.
He's not a point guard. He's going to play. Who is he playing? Who's he guarding at the 2? He's guarding.
Yeah.
He's guarding Shea.
He's 6'6".
Yeah.
Yeah.
A legit 6'6".
Yeah, he
Devin
could get
Booker?
into Shea. I mean, Jalen Brunson's fine, and he's 6'1".
Jalen Brunson's not asked to guard those kind of
Yeah, I
guys.
don't-
They put DiVincenzo or Deuce
Or Hart.
or even OG or Hart on those guys. They hide Jalen Brunson.
One last thing about LeBron being courtside here with the bottle of wine.
It was a full bottle, my bad.
He's just is huge, so it looks small. A lot of people noticing he was drinking wine and coffee
Yeah.
and water, but like wine and coffee together is a hell of a combo.
Who cares?
You.
I don't care what he's drinking.
It's an
I don't
upper
care
and a
where he
downer is what I meant.
Let's go. Pick a team. Leave me alone. Enough.
It is funny for the guy who's like, hey, you know, don't everybody give me any attention about where I want to go. I'm just going to spend time with my family. Oh, by the way, I'm going to sit courtside at a nationally televised playoff game that everybody's going to be watching.
Where they
But-
gave
with
him
a
a
vending
huge,
machine.
they gave him a huge introduction too, and like the top went off of the stadium.
But please respect my privacy, everybody.
Yeah, this was the headline on this one article I'm looking at SB Nation. Cavaliers superfan LeBron James drank wine and left early as Cleveland lost to Boston. Yeah, sure, that's part of it. Bogusch has headlines. Hi.
He wasn't Rookie of the Year or Defensive Player of the Year runner-up, but Chet Holmgren is still playing NBA games right now.
8 to shoot. Between the rings. Slices right. Kicks corner right. Holmgren up with a 3. Unguarded. Cha-ching! A Thunder money ball. Thunder by 3. 89-86. 3:20 left.
That's Matt Pinto on Thunder Radio. Lou Dort had his own big 3 down the stretch as OKC pulled out a 196 win in Dallas to level this series at 2. Head coach Mark Daigneault says hard work paid off in the end.
There was a lot of game pressure on us. I thought our ability to just endure, their early punches, and just not being able to get back in the game for a long time. Our ability to endure that was big time.
The Mavs, meanwhile, got just 27 total points from Luka and Kyrie. The Celtics got 60 combined from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in their 109-102 escape from Cleveland. The Cavs were still without Jared Allen. Then Donovan Mitchell was scratched with more calf troubles. Boston now leads that series 3-1. LeBron's Lakers expected to begin contacting head coach candidates now, specifically current assistants and former head coaches whom GM Rob Pelinka doesn't know too well. The list expected to include Heat assistant Chris Quinn and Pelicans assistant James Borrego, who was getting a lot of love for Zion's solid season when he was healthy.
Meanwhile, the Lakers beat the Pelicans like 500 times this season. But let's go get the Pelicans assistant because Zion had a good year.
Maybe we should make some calls for a GM, too.
What is the ruling? Or are they able to talk to podcasters? Is that allowed?
I think so. I think there's no tampering or anything like that. There's no wait. Yeah. It's free.
God, I can't wait to see this hire. Just see Pete's reaction.
Well, I love it when they lose again, like they have become a disgrace of a franchise.
Thanks, Pete. Here's an interesting nugget to read in the third question of a Q&A about Pete's Jets. Connor Hughes, who covers the team for SNY, says the Jets made real efforts this offseason to hire somebody to take over the offense from coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. Hackett would have kept his job and his title, but this new dude would have been in charge. Apparently, the team is now banking on Aaron Rodgers, negating most of Hackett's shortcomings.
Why did they stop looking for an offensive guy?
Here's my question. It's like they really made an effort, but came away with nothing. So you failed at this, yet it's out there now. So not only did you not accomplish the goal of actually hiring someone over Hackett, now that everyone's going to know you have no faith in this guy, and it's basically up to Aaron Rodgers, superhero, to keep changing all the calls at the line of scrimmage. Congrats, Jets. You jetsed. And, it's not even June.
The only thing that makes sense out of this is that nobody wanted to sign up for this setup of I'm not going to be coordinator, Nate's still going to be here, I've got to deal with Rodgers. But how is this in a Q&A? How is this not, it's like a mailbag at SNY.TV. How is this not a tweet and a break into Mets games, like breaking news? They tried to pseudo-replace their OC in the middle of the offseason? Like, that's a story. And this is like, oh, P.S. that this almost happened.
And also, you'd have to imagine a lot of people might want to work with Rodgers because look at what it does. It gets you hired. Like, Nathaniel Hackett would never have gotten a head coaching job or this job had he not worked with Rodgers once upon a time. I remember Nate Hackett was the offensive coordinator for the Bills. He sucked.
His only good run was a decent season with Blake Bortles, and I tried to sell that to the wazoo in terms of why he should be an offensive coordinator, and man, am I regretting that. It sucks because it feels like Aaron Rodgers is once again holding the Jets back. Because if Aaron Rodgers would just do the right thing and say, hey, I love you, buddy, we'll play plenty of golf, and there's a bag for you at the end of this, but we got to move on. Team's not invested in you. Then the Jets will actually have a real offensive coordinator.
No, but I think Rodgers likes it this way. He wants to keep changing the calls at the line of scrimmage. Maybe this is how his preferred setup here. It's just whatever Nate says, take it as a suggestion.
And the Jets got to continue to operate with one hand tied behind their back and apparently blindfolded also.
To be fair, the Jets have been terrible before Rodgers. You can't blame Rodgers for the Jets.
Oh, no, I'm blaming Rodgers for everything that's happening since he got here. I'm not saying what happened before. I'm saying the things that have happened. Zach Wilson being thrust into the starting lineup. Those terrible tackles and terrible weapons he brought in. Alan Lazard, Nate Hackett.
But to
those
be fair,
things are Aaron Rodgers' fault. There's no denying that.
What's a consistent factor over the last 10 years of the Jets? It's not Rodgers. It's the Jets.
But Randall Cobb wouldn't have been here. Alan Lazard wouldn't have been here. Zach Wilson would not have been starting. There are things that would not have happened if Aaron Rodgers wasn't there.
Well,
but they drafted Zach Wilson.
They would have brought in a backup quarterback, presumably, right? A better one. Now, here's the problem. It's like if anything happens to Rodgers again, the next guy up, Tyrod Taylor, is it? The next guy up is not going to be changing all the calls to the line of scrimmage because that guy doesn't have the agency to do something like that. Right. Even Taylor, who's been around for a long time. So that's where you hamstring yourself. Like, yeah, Rodgers will take care of it. It's like, well, what happens if he goes down 4 plays into the season?
That was the whole issue last season. Last year, Nate Hackett had to call plays for an inept quarterback, and we saw what happened. And now, I'm not only Tyrod Taylor is as inept as Zach Wilson, but he damn sure ain't Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to now hope that if the season goes to the toilet from a guy who has a torn Achilles, that we're going to be okay if he goes down. I feel terrible now after hearing this.
Well, at least they didn't hire somebody. I don't even know what's the silver lining.
There's no silver lining to this.
Oh, man.
Oh, we still got Robert Saleh. That's the silver lining.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Everyone trusts that guy.
The Colorado Avalanche had a bad Monday. They lost winger Vanakushkin to a 6-month unpaid suspension right before Game 4 with the Stars. Then they lost 5-1 to fall into a 3-1 hole. Nikushkin reportedly failed the drug test which would not be his first substance-related issue. His head coach, Jared Bednar.
I want what's best for him, and I want him to be happy, and I want him to be content in his life, whether that's with our team or not with our team. I want the best for him and his family. I think all of our guys are the same, and we hope that he can find some peace and get help.
Nikushin was leading Colorado with 9 goals this postseason. He has to apply for reinstatement after this 6-month suspension.
I heard a little bit. This guy is sports' ultimate hot mess.
Yes.
And with Russia looming behind him, too. I mean, that is not a good story.
Yeah, last spring, in the hotel on the road between games, there was a 911 call. And when they got to his hotel room, I think he was passed out, whatever. And there was a woman in there also way too drunk or whatever.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And he's a great player, right?
He's a very good player. Yes, he's a very useful player for sure. No doubt. The Rangers missed their second chance to close out the Hurricanes, dropping Game 5 at home 4-1. They're back in Raleigh for Game 6 on Thursday. Before Jared Goff got paid yesterday, Antoine Winfield Jr. got paid yesterday. He and the Bucks agreeing to a 4-year, $84 million deal. For the first time ever, the highest paid defensive back is a safety. This leaves Cincy Watt T. Higgins as the only franchise-tagged player without a long-term deal. Will Smith's 2-run double got the Dodgers a 6-4 win in 10 in San Francisco. The Pirates held on for an 8-6 win in Milwaukee. Brian Reynolds went 5 for 5, a homer, 2 RBI, and the Cardinals scored 8 in the 7th for a 10-5 win in Anaheim. Guys, back to you.
Andrew Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, one big question for a Pro Bowl quarterback. We're going to answer it next. It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Goes high on display. Road trip blues won't go away. Left behind, feeling bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, no excuse. Can't believe his eyes, what a sight. While Bogusch stays home, feeling so uptight. Cheering for their teams, reaching for the skies. Every touchdown, every tackle, they're in the zone with passion and energy. They make the stadium their own. Unstoppable, bring it on. The anthem of the game. Maggie and Perloff igniting the flame. When they're on the mic, you know it's gonna be a thrill. A sports duo like no other. They've got the Bills and Eagles will. They've got the Bills and Eagles will. Heart pounding, it's game day, the crowd's on fire. Maggie and Perloff, the legends we admire. Stats and insights, they bring the heat. Hot takes that sing to every heartbeat. They love the Bills and Eagles, the pride in their eyes, cheering for their teams, reaching for the skies. Every touchdown, every tackle, they're in the zone with passion and energy. They make the stadium their own. Unstoppable gridiron, the anthem of the game. Maggie and Perloff igniting the flame. When they're on the mic, you know it's gonna be a thrill. A sports duo like no other. They've got the Bills and Eagles will.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Breaking news this morning. All the insiders up and at 'em early. We got a new release here, a new game, Perloff, in the NFL schedule. Week 2. This is September 15th, 4:25 Eastern Time. Week 2. That is when you will get Patrick Mahomes against Joe Burrow. So Kansas City, Cincinnati. This is week 2. We already know week 1 for the Chiefs is going to be the Ravens, so they start off with a bang here. 2 AFC North rivals. You go start off the season with the Ravens on a Thursday. Week 2 on a Sunday afternoon is going to be Joe Burrow coming to town.
I don't know if I'm going to call this breaking news, Maggie, because it's a schedule release. It's going to come out. Breaking news is like you find out something that nobody was going to find out else. I'm not giving Adam Schefter any credit for breaking news.
Well, okay.
I love that you said the insiders are up and at him. I saw what you did there. That's a little bit of a dad pun.
Oh, I didn't even mean it. I'm just reacting to this in real time. And this is, again, the Chiefs starting out. Did they start out 0-2? Is this possible? 2 home games. It's going to be Ravens, and then they're home for the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, this that is a tough start now that you mention it. That is not good. It's not ideal.
I know exactly what they're doing here, though. I think what the league's doing. You got to make sure that Burrow is healthy and Mahomes, that they're healthy for this matchup. Last year, when it ends up being a game they played on, what was it, New Year's Eve, and it's Patrick Mahomes against Jake Browning, it's just not, you can't have that. You need the quarterbacks to have these marquee matchups as much as you can. Put them early in the season.
Yeah, Jake Browning balled out last year. I was a big fan of Jake Browning. You know, I love my mid-level backup quarterbacks.
You do.
Jake Browning was really good. That being said, you know, are you wasting this game early in the season, though? Because I feel like this could be like a huge number 1 seed battle in week 14. Why do you say, are we that worried about Burrow's going to get hurt?
Yes, I think so.
I don't think you have to be.
I mean, how many things has he had?
A lot of NFL careers go this way, where you start out with some injuries. There, you know, he's got a bizarre wrist right now. Like they haven't all been consistent. It's not like he has like Dante Culpepper, like the consistently same problem. I think he'll be okay.
No, but it's not a consistent problem. But for Burrow, it's been a lot of different things. I mean, it's been a knee, it's been a calf that we were worried about. Now it's ligaments in his wrist that no major quarterback has ever really come back from. So yeah, I want to get this early in the season to make sure I get the marquee matchup. I mean, and then I hope that I get it again in the playoffs.
Look at the guy. Lamar Jackson was hurt. And then last year he wasn't hurt. DAK PRESCOTT looked like his career was in danger.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he came back from that catastrophic injury. Guys come back and steady the ship.
You don't think we'll talk about Burrow a bit differently if he gets hurt again this year?
As injury prone? Well, I think I understand what yes, we will, but I think you're early on it. You might be right.
Listen, the guy had an appendectomy. I'm not holding that against him. I realize not all injuries are created equal, but knee, calf, now wrist.
I think you worry when it's the same body part over and over again. I think people are worried about Michael Penix because his knees keep getting hurt. I'm not as worried about Joe Burrow. He's a bit physical, but it's not like he's Lamar Jackson and runs 10 times a game. He'll be fine.
Okay, so far, here's what we know about the schedule. Again, you get Chiefs and Ravens week 1.
Yep.
We get Chiefs and Bengals week 2.
Mm-hmm.
We know we have Cowboys-Browns because Tom Brady is going to be calling that game for Fox. We know you have your Philadelphia Eagles playing the Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
I know. I'm not happy about this.
Why?
Well, because it's taking a home game away from the Eagles, and they have a big advantage at home. And it's a weird trip. It's a high elevation. It's going to take a lot out of them. They get a couple extra days on the end, but I can see the Eagles getting off to a weird start here. It's a tough game. If they lose in Brazil, it's going to be super depressing. That's a long flight, Maggie.
A lot of time to reflect, but you need it week one.
You
can't do this in the middle of the season. That'd be even harder.
It's one thing to lose a home game to go to London because now teams have figured out how to do that trip effectively. No one's figured out how to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh, I don't think anyone's figured out London.
London, it's 6 hours. Yes, they have.
The only
The
team that
Jags
figured
have.
out, well, yeah, because the Jags got to stay there for 2 weeks in a row. That's the only reason why they figured it out. I don't think any team is. Those Europe games are such a crapshoot.
Well, this is way harder than Europe. It's a much farther flight.
Yeah, but it's not the time zones. The flight is further, but the time zones aren't a crazy difference.
Oh, okay. Well, what is a time zone? I have no idea.
Check it out right now.
But regardless, obviously on its surface, going to Brazil for week one and losing a home game is not a good thing. And then you have to face the Packers. Great. That's a game. I want Jordan Love in the link, and I want the crowd looking like they're going to attack the officials of every penalty. I do not need this game in Brazil.
Let's see. Well, of course, Brazil has 4 time zones. What is? It is 8:49 a.m. right now in Brazil.
So they're an hour ahead.
They're an hour ahead. That's nothing. That's
better than 6 or whatever.
Totally. It's the time change that kills you when you go to Europe. It's not the flight time. So there you go.
Well, I don't know. Sao Paulo, how long is the flight?
I don't know.
All right. Yeah. Make you do a lot.
The Philly to Sao Paulo connection?
Okay. The flight time, vamp a little bit.
Are you going to go through
bit.
Chicago?
Yeah.
Like you are when you...
14 hours. Oh, no. Those are connecting flights.
That is brutal. 14 hours. You
No,
get to
that's
Taiwan.
wrong. That's connecting through Chicago. Listen, are they going to fly on the... I have bargain. I
Wait,
guess
Spirit Air? I don't think so.
Okay. Keep on 13
I'm
hours.
trying to find
13
this too.
hours.
Everything is connecting.
Yeah. Everything's connecting.
Well, maybe you have to connect.
Okay. Do from New York, because it's basically the same thing.
I'm not bailing you guys out here.
9 hours, 45 minutes from New York.
Oh, that's long.
That's still a long way. I mean, I guess in London, one way is really long. One way is a lot shorter on the way back. Whatever. I mean, this is just losing a home game stinks. I mean, with Buffalo the same way. When they lose did they go to London last year and lost a home game?
They not only lost a home game, that was the Jags' second week in London. So they were totally acclimated. It was definitely felt like a home game for them. I was beside myself about it.
The schedule release Wednesday is going to be interesting because it really does matter. I mean, we probably overrate the whole thing, but travel has a huge impact. I know Andrew Bogusch always gets mad at me because I complained last year that the Eagles were tired.
Yeah.
But how long you're on the road, when you're on the road is a big deal. When your bye is, like, this is really, I don't think we can overestimate how important the schedule is.
Well, and for Kansas City, it's not travel because it's 2 home games, but it's 2 really tough opponents. Yeah. You got, obviously, the Ravens with revenge on their mind from the AFC Championship game. And then you have the Bengals who got to be raring to go, too. And you know that they can play well in Arrowhead. Yeah. So this is an interesting one for the defending champs. We talked about, is their schedule a little easy, a little light? Well, they really stacked here at the beginning to play the Ravens and the Bengals back to back, and that's Adam Schefter just had that breaking news.
Well, the Chiefs this year do have a murderer's row of quarterbacks. They face like pretty much every all-pro quarterback. But then their strength of schedule is down because the Raiders and the Broncos and last year the Chargers were bad. So I think they get some makeup games there. You can't complain if you're KC.
No, and you get them at home, so you really can't. That's where you want them, And Kansas City did go to Europe last year, so I don't think they have to go this year.
Who gets screwed is my Eagles because they face the AFC North. Basically, the Eagles almost went undefeated a couple times. They played the AFC South. You really want to draw. You want to draw the South.
Yes.
And either time, it stinks when you have to go against Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. There's a lot of imbalance in the divisions right now. And that AFC North is crazy. All 4 of those teams probably are playoff teams that are stuck killing each other.
Yeah, we have some updates for you on what's going on with the Steelers. We'll bring that to you later on in the show with some new reporting that's come out on their quarterback situation. But for now, we're getting the schedule release dripping out here. And that is, again, the Chiefs are going to host the Ravens to start off. And then week 2, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. I kind of love it. I know what you're saying. Get these, is it too early to have these marquee matchups? But I'd rather see them than risk having someone.
I hear
what
you're saying. I just think you're painting Joe Burrow as a little more injury prone than he actually is. I hope I didn't just jinx you, Cincinnati fans. But I mean, this wrist injury, Did he say, like, I have no other quarterback has ever had this injury? But I see pictures of him in camp, and he is slinging it.
There's also this funny graphic that they released.
Yeah, I don't get Joe Burrow's face in this.
Mahomes is, like, smiling, and Joe Burrow is...
He's an 80s bad guy.
Smoldering?
That's it. Yeah, no, he's William Zabka. He's the 80s bad guy of the NFL.
Coming up, we got a question for you about a major NFL quarterback. Would you take his career over someone more famous? Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Lots of NFL news coming in here fast and furious. Got a new game that just got announced. So the Chiefs will open up the season playing the Baltimore Ravens. Week 2 for the Chiefs, though, the Cincinnati Bengals come to town. So the defending champs, the two-time defending champs, start the season with a bang. Ravens and then Bengals, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow right out of the gate.
Yeah, but both home. So this is kind of what you want. I don't think they're going to start at 0-2. I'm making an early prediction. I think they win that Bengals game. There you go.
Okay. Perloff is counting wins and losses already.
That's a win dog. That's a loss dog. The old Mike and the Mad Dog.
We've got some more for you. Yesterday, Jared Goff became a much richer man. The Detroit Lions got the priority done, which was, they said it was a priority to get an extension done with Jared Goff. So $212 million, $170 guaranteed. We're talking about 53 or so million per year. That's second only to Joe Burrow. And the question about Jared Goff, there's a couple here. How much pressure is on him to win the Super Bowl versus Dan Campbell, his head coach? Like, who's wearing this more?
Jared Goff.
Because Goff gets this money. He's beloved in Detroit, and it feels like Dan Campbell is the one who really has to shoulder all the pressure. He's more the face of the franchise. He's more the heart and soul of the franchise. And if they have more slip-ups, Perloff, where he's going for it on fourth downs and being ultra aggressive, the fan base would turn on him more quickly than they'll turn on Jared Goff, I would imagine.
Oh, I don't know. I think Dan Campbell's so popular that the Detroit fans seem to be all in on his mentality. Kind of fits the image I have of the city, sort of a tough nose, go for it city. And also, too, I don't think it's going to fail. They are really talented. And as long as Goff stays healthy, that's the thing about Jared Goff and this money. He's a high basement, he's a high floor.
Yeah.
Like, what's a bad Jared Goff season? Like, he's not going to just completely screw up.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine. The worst case scenario is he's just fine and the talent around him wins games. This is a very good situation. I don't think we're going to have to blame either guy. So in that scenario, I guess Campbell's more at fault because I don't see Goff screwing it up.
Well, here's your question, though. What does $50 million buy you these days? Does $50 million buy you a guy who just has to basically not screw it up?
Yep. That's exactly what it buys you. Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff.
I know, and that seems a little crazy because it's not just about the money. It's the impact that it does have on the cap. Now, listen, the Lions have been really good here. They paid Amon-Ra St. Brown. They paid Penei Sewell, and then they got to Goff. Eventually, they'll get to Aiden Hutchinson. That's probably next year. So they are re-signing their own guys, and they've drafted well. But at the same time, like, at some point, you got to ask, what does $53 million buy us? It buys us a system quarterback who we're not even sure can win us a Super Bowl. I thought 53 is supposed to buy you an elite quarterback.
We know he can get you to a Super Bowl because he got there in LA, and also he should have gotten there last year. Josh Reynolds doesn't drop that ball. Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't fumble. Goff did everything you could do to get a team to a Super Bowl.
Listen, and Goff was much better in this playoff run, the most recent one, than he was in the Rams' run to the Super Bowl. It's not that he was bad. He just was not the focal point. This is someone in 3 games on the way to the Super Bowl threw 1 touchdown. That's it.
But I mean,
he wasn't being asked to do a lot.
He played fine. First of all, he played fine in that Saints game. That Patriots game was a mess, and it wasn't. I'm not putting that all on Goff. That was not Goff. I think both teams were just overwhelmed. And
he threw a bad pick to Stephon Gilmore, and that would end up becoming one of the marquee plays from that game where the score was 13-3.
But did you find that it was a total panic job by Jared Goff? I don't remember that game that well. And also that way, also Brandon Cooks was right there to catch a touchdown that would have made him much closer. I think the entire Rams team had trouble. First of all, they shouldn't have been there. The Saints should have been.
Yeah, well, that was an all-time bad call that went against the Saints.
Goff was in his second season, and honestly, like the fact that he has resuscitated his career is one of the great stories in the NFL. He was down and out, and give the Lions a lot of credit for seeing something there. And to me, this deal was a no-brainer, as expensive as it was.
Yeah, it is. They were kind of painted into a corner that maybe they wanted to be painted into. I don't know. But again, it still is a lot of money per year for a guy who, if you just back of the envelope this thing, and I asked you if you could start a franchise with any quarterback, how many guys would you name before you got to Jared Goff? Be quite a few. And that's not like a disrespect to Goff. He's in a great spot. But
well, right, that's true. But also, what is it, 52 or whatever? That's going to be the 8th or 9th highest contract in a blink of an eye.
Okay,
that's the way quarterback is. It's a cyclical market. So you just pay everybody $50 million, and then next year there's going to be $55 million, and the year after that it'll be $60 million.
So you bring up a good point here, which is the Jared Goff contract on its own, which we can talk about. And again, you can go to @MaggieAndPearl on Twitter. You can vote on our poll, or you can give us a call at 855-212-4227. Who has more pressure on them? Is it Dan Campbell or is it Jared Goff to win a Super Bowl in Detroit? So that's one side of this. Then every time a quarterback gets paid, we look around and see, how is this contract going to impact other quarterbacks who need to get paid? Because these are the types of contracts that can end up hamstringing an organization. It's the biggest money you have to dedicate to any position on the football field. So what does this do for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys? Is this move them any closer to a finish line or not? What does this do for Tua? What does this do for Trevor Lawrence? What does this do eventually for Brock Purdy down the line when he can get paid next year? We kind of pause for a second on Prescott. Prescott and Jared Goff, both the same draft class, 2016 draft class. Obviously, Goff goes number 1. Prescott goes in the 4th round. If you were to look at both of their careers, and I asked you, who's had the better career so far, Jared Goff or Dak Prescott? Who do you think?
Well, obviously Dak Prescott. There's not a single number where Goff has him. Dak's better at everything by about 2%. They're almost the same quarterback, but Dak's just a little more accurate. He's a better runner. He's thrown for more yards. He's won more games. Like, Dak has him in every possible way. I can't think of, except for the playoff runs, which you sort of discounted in L.A.
Yep.
And last year, I think Detroit had a much better team around Goff. Except for that, Dak Prescott has outperformed him every step of the way.
It's not by a lot, though. It really isn't. Their touchdowns are almost the same. Their interceptions are almost the same in terms of career. Like, their records are not that crazy different. They're very, very similar type guys. I think that you do have to hand it to Goff, though. Even if I'm not giving him a ton of credit for that first run to the Super Bowl, I do think that he's somebody I would trust more in a big game than Dak Prescott. So I don't want to boil the whole career down to like drive for your life, but if it was a drive for my life, I think I probably have a little bit more faith in Goff than I do in Dak.
You know, I think part of it is you have to look at the coaches. Dak is already 5 to 10% better in all the numbers, and he's had Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy.
Yep.
Jared Goff's had Sean McVay and now probably the best young offense coordinator in football in Detroit in Ben Johnson.
Well, so let's not take Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel.
I said best young one.
Mike McDaniel's not that old.
Well, okay. He hasn't had a head coaching job yet. He's in his 30s. So I'm giving Ben Johnson a lot of credit here. He definitely had McVay. Dak has had a sort of mishmash of offensive game plan. I'm not sure Garrett was a good offensive coordinator, but he was not exactly Sean McVay. And McCarthy and Kellen Moore, who knows? Kellen Moore did put up a lot of numbers. I just think that Jared Goff's had better teams around him. I think you can't argue with that.
He's definitely had better coaching.
Also, too,
I don't think that Jared Goff has definitely had better teams around him.
I mean, if you put Aaron Donald on the Cowboys, he probably single-handedly wills them to a Super Bowl as well.
Okay, but the Dallas Cowboys defense up until that Packer game, which was a shock to everybody, they were not the problem.
Well, late in the season, what did your Bills do to that Cowboys team? Once you proved
make an adjustment. I mean, they also got really injured in the linebacker position, so it made it a lot harder for them to stop the run.
Yeah, and a lot of teams actually had success late in the season against that Cowboys defense. Regardless, though, you have to look at the Lions right now. You cannot tell me, I know you think the Cowboys have some talent. You cannot tell me they have as much talent as Detroit.
Right now, but throughout their career, has Dak Prescott, I think let's see. I mean, I think he's definitely been on some better teams than Jared Goff.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, though, Goff's had McVay.
Yeah, but he had McVay, and I know that McVay was reading the defenses for him and all that, but McVay also threw him out, you know?
Right. But I mean, those numbers were there. He had very good receivers. He definitely had the game plan. I mean, Goff, he could get hot. Remember the 54-51 game against the Chiefs? He is obviously, I think we're nitpicking a little bit here, but Dak has done it pretty consistently throughout his career since he was a rookie. It's sometimes not the greatest players around him. Sometimes there are great players around him. Also, Dak is way more mobile. Dak lost a big chunk of time to that injury in the middle of his career.
Well, then I'd also maybe hand it to Goff because Goff's never, knock on wood, had a major injury too. So that's a question for you. 855-212-4227. We've got two out there for you. Number one, who's under more pressure to win a Super Bowl? Is it Jared Goff or Dan Campbell? And then number two, who's had the better career, Dak Prescott or Jared Goff?
You could also make the argument that there are no two quarterbacks in NFL history that are closer than Dak Prescott and Jared Goff.
Well, people thought Dak and Kirk Cousins, right, were also very similar.
Yeah, but then I think Dak kind of had a great season last year and sort of moved ahead of Kirk. That's funny.
Kirk's never been in an MVP conversation legitimately.
Yeah, no, I think Dak moved ahead. I always thought Dak was a little better than Kirk. Kirk will get you a lot of yards, but talking about a guy who's not won. I mean, he is definitely, like Dak, gotten nowhere in the playoffs.
All right, so that's your question. EJ, you want to weigh in? Who's had a better career, Dak or Jared Goff?
I think it's Goff, and I don't honestly think I don't want to say it's not close, but I think it's kind of obviously Goff.
Because he got to a Super Bowl and another NFC championship game?
He's done things that Dak Prescott has never done. He is taking his team to a Super Bowl. He's taking his team to a conference championship. He's taking a team that was in the absolute doldrums, was seen as just a laughing stock, and he's essentially lifted them into a Super Bowl contender. He went somewhere where no quarterback has had success, basically. As he said it on that podcast where he was complaining about the Detroit media, he also said that, I think LA sent me there basically to die. And he's right. And I look at Dak Prescott's career, and we could say there's a lot of weight that comes with being the Dallas Cowboy quarterback and the star in the helmet, and that's true. But there's also a lot of privilege. There's also a lot of support that comes with that as well. They get the pick of the litter when it comes to free agent signings with guys who would take a one-year deal, whatever, just to go out there and win. He had Ezekiel Elliott as an absolute sledgehammer for the early part of his career.
Great offensive line.
Great offensive line. I mean, we could talk about the stats, and the stats aren't that far to me where it's like, oh, Dak Prescott's stats so much better. They're very close.
They're very close.
Goff is thrown for more yards over the course of his career. But if I'm looking at a career, who would I rather have? I think Dak Prescott would trade his career for Jared Goff's in a heartbeat. So he could say that I went to a Super Bowl and I went to a conference championship. Guess what? He'd be signed today. If the Dallas Cowboys had finally got to a Super Bowl and he took them to a conference championship, he wouldn't be sitting around saying, how come I don't got no contract?
I know, but here's the thing. Goff did... Listen, we can talk about how big of a role he had getting the Rams to the Super Bowl. To me, it wasn't very big. They did re-sign him, and then they couldn't get out of the contract fast enough. So I don't know if necessarily you traded careers if Dak Prescott would be signed right now. Maybe he would be. Listen, Goff just got another huge bite at the apple yesterday. $170 million guaranteed. We're wondering how this is going to impact Dak Prescott's contract and other guys as well.
They threw out Jared Goff after he had 4,600 yard seasons. It was not like the season before he did not have a good season. That's why they wanted to move on.
He had two bad seasons.
Right. Well, one season they went to the playoffs. So,
well, here's one counter argument to everything you said, EJ. If you put Dak on that Lions team right now, they would probably be pretty darn good. I mean, they'd be right. And I honestly, if you put, I'd rather have Dak on the Lions and Goff on the Cowboys because the Cowboys need a little bit. They don't have quite the weapons the Lions do. Especially at running back this year. So I think Dak would kill it in Detroit.
I think Dak could do very well in Detroit, but I could argue Goff be really good in Dallas because what you said earlier in the show was the problem with Dak was that he's force-feeding CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. One thing about Jared Goff, that dude spreads the ball around. He's going to get it to the open guy.
Who in Dallas, though? I mean, 2 years ago, Dak had...
Jake Ferguson.
2 years ago, Dak led the league in interceptions with 15. About 11 of them hit guys in the numbers and just popped up into the air because their receivers were so terrible.
And that was one of the big things why we were surprised, I think, this offseason that they really didn't make another commitment to another big wide receiver.
Well, all in was not quite what we expected.
Not
Detroit,
drafting anybody, not looking on the free agent market for anybody.
You could argue Detroit's way more all in because we signed all these young guys. I mean, the Cowboys all in, then they change all in to be we're going to re-sign our own guys, and they haven't done that either.
I know.
They are technically all out.
Well, and this is the thing. Jerry said, we're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. And meanwhile, this is what happens when you wait. Other guys sign massive deals. And I know that Jared Goff's wasn't the biggest that we've seen in NFL history, but it was damn near close. I mean, he's making only second to Joe Burrow in terms of average money per year.
Yeah. Well, I think the Cowboys, there's definitely a faction that wants to move on from Dak because he can't win in the playoffs, right? So isn't that what this delay is about too?
Yeah, 855-212-4227, or they're just delaying because, I don't know, they think they're going to try to get a deal, try to get one up on him. Like, Earth to Jerry, Dak's got the leverage here, my friend.
Well, I mean, this is a movie we've seen a couple times.
That's true.
They tend to wait, and they tend to pay.
I will say this, though. The case I just laid out for Jared Goff is the exact case that Jerry and Steven are going to tell Dak about. They're going to try to convince him that he's not as good as Jared Goff. And I think they'd be right. They're going to say, look, this guy has been winning in the playoffs. This guy has gone to 2 different places showing he can win. This guy took a team from the doldrums and lifted the team up. We've never seen you do any of that.
Yeah, EJ, that would be great if this was arbitration. It's not arbitration. It's a contract negotiation where, I mean, the Cowboys just, what's the plan B? This is a little like the Lions. I mean, there was part of the Lions signing this that had to be like, look around. Like, what else are we going to do? There's not somebody who we can put in that's going to be better. At least we slam dunk is going to be better than Goff. And you're not close to getting a guy in the first round of the draft who's probably going to make an impact for you at some point because you're too good right now.
Yeah. Also, Dak, one thing about Dak, he owns the Giants and he owns the Eagles. I mean, he has the Eagles in his back pocket.
Well, everybody owns the Giants. Brag about that.
And I think I actually don't know the Commanders, but I imagine he's lit up the Commanders. So at least you're going to kill Dak is really good against the Eagles. He's a real problem for us. So I would not get rid of him for that reason alone if I was the Cowboys.
Well, maybe he'll be a future Eagle quarterback. I don't know. Miami Dolphins, something. There's lots of places Dak can go. 855-212-4227. So you're welcome to weigh in there. 2 questions for you. One, the Detroit side of things. Who's under more pressure to win a Super Bowl? Is it Dan Campbell? Is it Jared Goff? Now that Goff has signed this massive deal. Or who's had the better career, Jared Goff or Dak Prescott? You're welcome to weigh in on that. Again, 855-212-4227. You can watch us where? YouTube and Twitch. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. Also, the absolutely free to download Odyssey app is perfectly crystal clear. You'll love it. SiriusXM channel 158. We have a podcast as well. Highly suggest you check that out. And if you would give us a 5-star review, we would be so kind. We would appreciate it so much.
Absolutely.
That would be so kind.
One more Dak stat I'm going to throw at you. 11-2 versus the Commanders, 12-2 versus the Giants, 9-4 versus the Eagles. That's a pretty good baseline. You're going to dominate your division. Give the money to Dak, Maggie. Don't hold back. Why are we waiting? You're going to end up paying him more, and you know it.
Coming up, we've got more NFL schedule release news for you. Sit tight. It all comes your way in moments.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. I am going to bet on Dak Prescott for MVP this year.
Wow.
Because I assume you'll get good odds because the Cowboys did nothing to help them this offseason. In fact, almost like they want him to fail so they can get out of that contract. But their defense stunk at the end of last year. They lost Dan Quinn. The defense could get worse. They're going to be in some shootouts. And he put up huge numbers last year when the defense was okay. I could see a 40-touchdown season if Dak is healthy because I think the Cowboys defense is sliding downward and there's going to be some big scoring games.
The only thing about voting for Dak or betting on Dak rather to win MVP, are they going to win enough games?
Oh, not at all. No, this is a terrible bet.
Yeah,
but I think he could have. I mean, he had huge numbers last year. I think last year he had 4,516 yards, 36 touchdowns. I think that could actually go up because of a function of the defense going down. And who are they handing the ball off to? Ezekiel Elliott and Rico Dowdle? They're going to throw the ball all over the yard, maybe.
Who are they throwing it to besides CD?
Well, Cooks is back. Jake Ferguson, your guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're throwing it to. I honestly did not see Dak having that kind of year last year. I just think that the Cowboys might be a different team this year. I can't. They tried to draft to help the run game and to stop the run, but they haven't done that quite effectively enough. I can see him throwing it all over the yard this year and having big numbers. MVP, you're right, seems hard to believe. But Dak, he has some easy games in here. He's going to face the Commanders. He's going to have some big games.
I'd love to know who was the last MVP who won MVP without their team winning at least 12 games.
Well, I mean, the Cowboys win 12 games every year.
But this year their win total's down a full game, isn't it? Didn't it go from 10.5 to 9.5?
Are they down to 9?
Still be at 9.5. Got to check that. We got a couple of Jared Goff questions out there for you today as he signed a huge extension yesterday. One is whose career's been better, Goff or Dak Prescott, both in the same draft class?
Jared Goff.
And then the other, who is facing more pressure to win a Super Bowl? Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Lions, or Jared Goff? This is the most I think we've talked about Jared Goff in one singular show. Bill's in California. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good morning, guys. Good morning. First of all, I want to start off by saying, Perloff, I have no idea what you're drinking, but it's rotten, so throw it away. No idea. Prescott's not even going to come close to being MVP. Last year, if you took away all of his garbage time, that's what he is garbage. He got most of his yards by throwing in garbage time because
That's
they wouldn't
not
take him out when they were. Oh yeah, it's true. Go back and watch it. When you said he led the league in interceptions and 11 of them came. No, only 6 of them came off the hands of other guys.
Wow, you actually have this. That's a lot, dude.
Yeah. Well, I don't. It's not 11.
Okay.
He also missed 5 games. That's a lot of interceptions to throw and not a lot of games.
Goff is the much better quarterback. Like Maggie said, if I was needing somebody to get me to the Super Bowl and can count on, it's going to be Goff. Goff is there. He's great. Dak Prescott is what he is. He's nothing. It's been nothing his whole career. He hasn't gone anywhere, and that's what it's nothing to have. I mean, let's face it. Brock Purdy blew him away last year. Mr. Irrelevant. And it doesn't get any worse than that, and it's not going to get any better for Dak.
Dude, Brock Purdy was amazing last year. That's not that. He killed a lot of people.
Brock Purdy's been amazing the last 2 years. Brock Purdy's been amazing the last 2 years, and he's done more in his last 2 years than Dak Prescott's done in his whole career.
Okay,
so,
all right, Bill, who would you rather have, Brock Purdy or Jared Goff?
Brock Purdy. Simple, easy.
Because he's younger?
I mean, that's not even a question.
Because he's younger, because he's better?
Because he's younger, he's got a lot more to go. He's got a lot more to have. All he's going to do is come up and be better. Golf is on the mountaintop right now of his career, so he's going to start coming down. But he's got some good years in front of him still. Brock Purdy's just going to go further.
Yeah, Bill, thank you so much for weighing in. Question today, whose career has been better, Goff or Dak Prescott? Now, if you just want to look on the surface, you could say, listen, Goff's gotten to a Super Bowl. Goff's gotten to an NFC Championship game. These are places that Dak Prescott has not achieved yet. However, as much as I will take Goff in this conversation, Goff getting to the Super Bowl with the Rams, we all remember what that run was about. And that run was not about Jared Goff. He was more along for the ride than he was leading the team.
Well, yeah. No, I think that's a little mean. I think Goff had a pretty good year that year.
No,
I think
Todd Gurley was the main. Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson were like the 1-2 punch there.
But Goff had 32 touchdowns that year and 12 picks, and I don't think he played poorly in that Saints game. I mean, it wasn't like he was conservative, but I don't remember him missing wide open guys all over, throwing too many bad picks in that Super Bowl run.
No, but they weren't asking him to do anything. Like, that was the problem. It was Greg Zuerlein and a combination of the kicking game and the running game, and they were super conservative.
Yeah, but again, you can't say he played bad. He was good that year. I mean, I don't think he got any MVP votes, but he wasn't far behind. He was definitely a good quarterback. I know it was like Jared Goff's a bust. 32 and 12 is a pretty good ratio.
No, nobody was saying he's a bust, but I don't think people, if people don't give Tom Brady credit for the first 3 Super Bowls in New England, you cannot give Jared Goff credit for making it to the Super Bowl with those Rams team.
I don't think Tom Brady had numbers like that in those first 3 years.
Well, but I'm just saying, if you were talking about what was a more dominant side of the ball, the run game and the defense for the Rams was the reason they got there.
Okay. I don't see it that way. I feel like Goff was really good in 2018. The whole season as a whole, he was really, really good.
Let's talk about the playoffs where he was throwing for like 150 yards. I mean, it was not production.
And the game against the Saints, he was 25 for 40, 297 yards,
and one
TD. That's pretty good.
And the all-time
that's 300 yards. That's not 100. Yeah, I know.
A lifetime.
That's a reality. Like this Jared Goff versus Dak Prescott argument. Don't bring up that Super Bowl. They shouldn't have been there. It should have been the Saints.
He also had an all-time classic in the regular season where he outdueled Patrick Mahomes and
yeah, Perloff loves that game.
One of the best games we've seen.
Dude, if you want to talk about great game, I mean, when Dak is on a heater, he'll have a game where it's like 25 or 27, 4 touchdowns. Nobody gets hotter than Dak.
Dak's had great playoff games. We don't remember them because of all the failures against San Francisco and then this one against Green Bay. Dak was great against Green Bay. He was really good against Seattle. I mean, He's had some at Tampa Bay. He's had some really good playoff games. It's just
Dak's a good they're both
pales in comparison.
They're both good quarterbacks. I do think you have to pay $50 million for a good quarterback. I don't think anyone can kill the Lions today. It's unrealistic to say we should have moved on. And honestly, when the Cowboys pay Dak, I'm going to defend that deal, no matter what it is, Maggie. Unless it's 60, then I will not defend it.
What if it's $1 billion?
I mean, honestly,
You said you'd defend it.
That's where Jerry's going these days. With Jerry, if they let Jerry negotiate it, yes, it will be that much money.
Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. Hi.
Well, Maggie, congratulations. All your football problems are now solved. The Buffalo Bills reportedly signing Marquez Valdez-Scantling to complete that already deep, experienced, highly productive receiver room for Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Is
It's
this-
like the Village Bicycle, man, MVS.
Is this the most eclectic wide receiver room in the history of the NFL? What a bunch of dudes there. MVS, Khalil
Can any of them
Shakir,
catch?
Keon Coleman's the best interview to come to the NFL in 10 years. Yeah, that's a good
what
question.
does that get you? Good. He's a good interview, thank God. I mean, that's going to turn.
Yeah. He currently has more winter coats than catches.
Yeah. If he drops the first pass, people are going to be burning those winter coats in the parking lot.
Well, isn't it just going to be a ton of passes to Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox and hand the ball to Cook?
I mean, that's what it is anyway.
Yeah, but you got to admit, this is an oddball group of wide receiver.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. If you have two quarterbacks, you have none. If you have all these receivers, but none of them are a number one receiver, who do you give the ball to in crunch time?
Well, I mean, that was the Chiefs. After they got rid of Tyreek Hill, they had 10 receivers that they were spreading the ball around to. It kind of worked out.
Yeah, little different. Mahomes, Andy Reid, little different. And they have Kelsey, who is clear number one.
I mean, sorry, I forgot a bunch of guys. They have, is this right? Matt Collins is in Buffalo. Yeah. Chase Claypool's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Claypool's
KJ Hamler's in Buffalo.
Curtis
Andy
Samuel,
Isabella.
let's keep going.
Claypool's the one for me. Every time I see him, I'm like, wow, that guy, Buffalo is really scraping the bottom of the barrel to find some talent.
Hey, I don't even know if he's going to make it to training camp, okay?
Does he know where the facility is?
Well, this is why it's easy, because he can just, go right back to Canada when this doesn't work out. You just go right back to the CFL because
Just keep going
Buffalo's
north.
so close to the border.
I mean, not all these guys are going to make the team, right? You can't have 10 receivers. I mean, is Andy Isabella going to be a Buffalo Bill?
He was there last year.
He wasn't really?
I believe so. I think he was on the practice squad.
KJ Hamler?
Listen, it's called volume. You need it these days in the NFL.
It's an interesting way to approach for a contender. Let's bring in 11 mediocre receivers and see what rises to the top.
Yeah. I'm going to go cry. What else you got, Bogusch?
Well, with roughly 36 hours to go before the full NFL schedule release, we are now adding Cowboys-Browns on the first Sunday of the season. That'll be Tom Brady's Fox debut. We've got the Chiefs hosting the Bengals on the second Sunday afternoon, and this is brand new news. We're running it back. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets opening on Monday night, this time in San Francisco against the Niners.
Oh, man.
I'm taking this personally, NFL.
That is a rough way to start.
Someone was having fun making those schedules.
The Niners defense fell off last year. Maybe they don't fix it, and Rodgers can do some things here. Although
another Monday night after he tore his Achilles, 4 plays into Monday night, that is just
and
not
go out
cool.
west too. Go out to the West Coast.
This is his home.
Yeah.
This is his home stomping grounds, right?
The NFL hates the Jets. They hate the Jets.
Well, you're going to have to play him at some point anyway. What's the difference?
Monday Night Football, on the road, Nick Bosa, you're coming off a torn Achilles. This is how you open the season?
Better hope those tackles are up to snuff.
Oh, my gosh. Morgan Moses, do all the Pilates and leg lifts and whatever you need to get your pliability ready.
This might be the only game where you have Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. Maybe no. This is scary. Because also you have a healthy McCaffrey. Oh man, healthy Debo. Everyone's healthy in San Francisco.
Man,
I got to hear about how much Saleh loves Kyle Shanahan, and then he's going to get coach circles around.
Oh right, I forgot.
Great.
Saleh's the former assistant
Honestly,
coach.
the best thing for everybody would be if the Niners blow out the Jets and Saleh just switches sidelines. It goes home with the Niners after maybe said Niners need Saleh more than the Jets.
I know, but
need
the Jets,
Saleh.
who are they going to elevate? Nathaniel Hackett, who they tried to replace this year?
Eggplants.
They're going to get that mystery
Hopefully not
guy.
eggplant emoji.
Should switch sidelines before the game.
They'll get that mystery guy they tried to hire to supplant Nathaniel Hackett that we talked about last hour, whoever that coach was.
I would have appreciated them hiring a defensive coordinator to run the offense over
That guy's guy's good.
Hackett.
Albrick, whatever.
Albrick's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's Saleh. Saleh's the guy who runs the defense, so he doesn't get as much credit.
I would rather have a special teams coach running the offense. This is totally ridiculous. There was all these coaches sitting out there on the free agent market. Oh, let's run it back with Robert Saleh, and let's go get our butts kicked in San Francisco on the first week of the season.
I don't think Belichick wasn't coming there. I don't know if you even wanted him, but here's the thing. I think that is a little wrong to do this by the NFL. The guy tore his Achilles on a Monday night game. You're really going to run it back for him on another Monday night debut game? Come on. Give him a 425.
This is the NFL likes to laugh at our pain. And
well, you got a star at quarterback, and that's
funny.
what they like.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the Jets will find the banana peel no matter where you schedule. There's no schedule that's going to save this franchise from doing Jets things.
I will say this. They scheduled the Patriots week 1. I think they would have been okay.
Okay. Yeah, but eventually you're going to have to play these games. Come on. Might as well play it now. Rip the Band-Aid.
Jets would lose a game if the team forfeited. That's how bad they are.
Well, I mean, they could win this game and everybody jumps back on that bandwagon.
Jets are typically good in week 1s. They're kind of like
They
the
won
Mets
week
on
1
opening
this year.
day for whatever weird reason. Like they always play well in
Listen.
week 1, especially at home. This was on the road.
Aaron Rodgers went out in that game, and they still won.
No.
Are they still doing the doubleheader Monday night?
I don't know. Were we going to get to that?
I thought they got rid of. I told Maggie I think they got rid of the Mike Greenberg second head. The Chargers game that they tack on Monday night.
I hope they did, because if they do a doubleheader, you're looking at this game as the 9:00 game.
This is an 8:15 start, so I don't think there's going to be too
I think they actually announced that they were getting rid of that.
Okay, all right, that's good. That's good.
But you guys saw, I don't know if this is in your update, Bogusch, about NBC getting the extra game in December. So NBC, right, is getting the December 21st game, or is it Netflix?
Yeah, NBC and Peacock.
NBC and Peacock is going to get December 21st. And it's going to be December 21st. Remind me of how this is going.
It's going to be a Saturday, December 21st. You'll have 4 teams play. Those same 4 teams will have different matches, but those will be the teams that will play on Christmas Day. So you're talking about teams that will almost certainly be playing on Sunday the week before, though I guess in theory they could play Thursday. Sunday to Saturday, and then to Wednesday on Christmas Day, December 25th.
Yeah, so it's 2 short weeks back to back. One extremely short with the Sunday to Saturday to Wednesday part of it.
Saturday to Wednesday
turnaround. And this is so late in the season, December 21st and 25th, that the bye weeks have all been long gone by then. So you can't even have, I don't think you can have your bye week the week before.
Last week of the bye week, I believe, was week 14.
Week 14,
this would be, you're talking about 15 and 16 at this point.
And the NFL's argument is Saturday to Wednesday is the same thing as Sunday to Thursday.
Correct.
So it's actually not that big of a deal.
That's what they're going to say.
But back-to-back weeks of short weeks, usually when you have that Thursday game, it's like your bye is close, right?
Well, you
just get the mini bye
right
on the back end. Anyway, that's what's going on. What else we got?
All the Cavaliers had last night was LeBron in the front row. Jared Allen remained out with his rib injury. Donovan Mitchell joined him with more calf issues, and Cleveland still almost stole Game 4 from the Celtics. Boston finally pulling away late for a 109-102 win and a 3-1 series lead. J.B. Bickerstaff's healthy guys could have easily laid down and lost 121-89.
Competed at a high level. They played the game properly. I'm proud of the guys, the way they went out and scrapped and, competed and gave ourselves a chance.
Darius Garland led the Cavs with 30, Jason Tatum at 33 in the win for the Celtics.
That's doing in Cancun, by the way.
34 points for SGA and OKC's 196 in Dallas. This series now 2-2. Luka Doncic just 18 points. His team missed 11 free throws.
No concern. We just got to be ready. Obviously it's going to be hard on the road, but we've done it before. We can do it again.
Game 5 in OKC tomorrow night. The Mavs won there in Game 2.
I'm actually old enough to remember where there was home court advantage in the NBA and teams played better at home, and I guess that's not a thing anymore at all, right? Because
it's a thing in the East.
The East is you mean the JV version of this?
It's part
playoff?
of the NBA. He said in the NBA.
Yeah, it's marginally part of the NBA. I mean, let's face it. Nobody thinks it's odd. Denver lost 2 at home and then 1-2 on the road, and now this OKC Dallas thing just doesn't seem like home court matters anymore. Am I missing something here?
I think this is the playoffs. I think that when you have longer series, you're going to see teams win on the road. I thought that was
Wait, playoffs home court is more important in the playoffs. That's why you fight so hard to get home court.
Well, as you get deeper, though, you get longer series. And then once you get to that point in the playoffs, then it's just not, yes, you do have times where it's just where we're seeing the Knicks right now, where it's just been 2 for New York and then 2 for Indiana. I think that when we get this point in the season, you're seeing good teams that know each other. You're going to have some of these random ones. Now, that's the Nuggets, T-Wolves, that is extremely rare, where you have all home teams lose. That does not happen often.
I'm just salty because I told you guys the Mavs series was done, and they're up at home. You don't blow that game at home. You have the crowd on your side. You should be getting to the officials. And I don't know how they blew that game.
Well, they didn't hit free throws, like Bogusch just said.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just inexcusable for a team with shooters like that.
Yeah.
It just felt like, I thought to me watching the younger legs of the OKC really helped because neither team could shoot at all in the third quarter. And it really was going to become who could just make some plays in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And OKC just kind of won at the end. They just made enough plays at the end where Dallas, they looked tired to me.
And that Tim Hardaway turnover was awful. And I don't know. That was just, they were making some bad mistakes at the end.
But you still think a game like that, Kyrie Irving is going to win at home. I mean, or Luka.
That's where the young legs come in. I thought Kyrie, I don't know what it was. I thought he didn't have it yesterday.
What else we got, Bogues?
SEC men's basketball only scheduling one Arkansas-Kentucky game for the coming season. It'll be in Lexington, so John Calipari takes his Razorbacks back there at a date and time to be announced.
See, Calipari was at the game last night.
Yeah, which they pointed out because you had Jalen Williams and Daniel Gafford playing. Guys that Calipari didn't coach. Was he there to support them?
I think he's just there.
They tried to connect it to those guys, and I was like, really? That's why? That's the connection?
Wait, Calipari and LeBron are buddies? I can't remember.
He was at the Dallas game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Calipari was at the Dallas OKC game. No, but Shea. Isn't he there for Shea?
Oh, I guess Shea would be the guy. Yeah, and Casey Wallace. But they didn't say that on the broadcast.
Shea's the obvious one, right?
I need to go on the bus. He's awesome, obviously. But he pointed out, 2 Arkansas guys locking up. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess that is true. He didn't coach or recruit either of those guys, but maybe he's trying to get into good graces early.
Do they boo Calipari when he goes back to Lexington, or do they give him a standing ovation? We're going to need Big Dave to rule on this one. I don't know if he's listening today.
I think he gets booed pretty badly.
Think so?
I do.
It seemed like it was the school's decision. I mean, this was like the definition of a mutual, felt like definition of a mutual decision, no? Like the school's ready to move on, Cal was ready to move on.
But it feels like there's some animosity with
right?
how Calipari was unwilling to adjust. And I think at the end of the day, fans...
That gets you booed?
Yeah, well, I think fans don't like coming up short on expectations.
Right.
And I think that at the end of the day, they expected a lot more, and he didn't live up to them, whether it's fair or not. I don't think they should boo him, but I think they will.
Well, he did so much for that school. You can't boo him.
I don't think the Kentucky fans think of it that way. I think they think, oh, we're the blue blood program. If it wasn't Calipari, it would have been someone else.
All right, have fun. Boom.
I think
I'm not
right.
saying it's right, though. I would probably give him a standing ovation.
Also, Cal rubs people the wrong way. I think especially now that he's in Arkansas, he's really going to rub them the wrong way.
Guys, they filled their gym when the new guy got hired.
Yeah.
Because they were so happy there was a new guy there. They're definitely going to boo Coach Cal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does he get a, what's it called? A
video tribute?
Yeah, video tribute. Do you do the video tribute for Coach? Doc Rivers would have like 1,000 of these if they did them.
There was somebody, I don't know, it was a Mets player, right, who they did a video tribute. He got booed. Was it Scherzer? I want to say last season.
Probably.
Sounds right.
I think, so I mean, I think that they probably should, and I think they will boo the video tribute if they put it up.
That's ridiculous. It's not like the guy's a bum.
Can you boo a video tribute?
It happened last year.
Well, I know, but Mets fans, you know how we are.
For poor production quality? What do you mean?
Jump cuts.
Team.
Yeah.
Didn't like the music choice?
Yeah.
Too many visual transitions. Come on, guys. Let's go.
It's a very discerning audience. Everyone's content creators now.
There's too many tribute videos.
I'm all in for any video tribute. I see a video tribute thing, I'm always going to cheer it.
Enough. Trade a guy leaves, leave it be. All right? Let him finish his career. Then when he retires, maybe come back and do a video.
I like the ironic tribute video.
Yeah.
When it's definitely a guy who doesn't probably deserve one, but they give one to him anyway.
Oh, yeah. The bench players.
It's so great.
Role players.
Those are good.
Guys have been there for 20 seconds. Yeah.
Put that on the poll. Are there too many video tributes?
Yes and yes is the answers for that.
You can vote twice. Thank you, Bogusch. Appreciate that. Coming up, okay, we've got more schedule stuff for you. The NFL schedule is getting leaked out here as we speak. The whole thing comes out tomorrow, so do not move a muscle. We're back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. All right, I just got an interesting email about 4 new sports documentaries that are going to be coming up soon. This is from Amazon. Tell me which one of these, if you could only watch one, you would want to watch. Again, 4 new sports documentaries. The first is a Untitled Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4-part series. 4-part series, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I thought you said Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, sorry, senior.
Yeah, okay, all in.
I'm sorry, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
All in. I can't imagine anything's going to top that because that's going to be super cool.
A documentary about Madden, the game.
All in.
The never been told story of Madden NFL.
I have to see that.
Okay. This is another documentary. We're talking about 4 documentaries that are going to get released from Amazon. One called Game 7. It brings you the greatest Game 7s of all time.
I put that a level below because it's less creative than those other two. Those other two sound perfect. That sounds amazing, and I am going to watch it, but it's 3rd place right now.
Okay, and the 4th one is about Chiefsaholic, a wolf in Chiefs clothing. So it's the bank robber Chiefs fan, and you even get interviews with the bank robber, with Chiefsaholic.
Nah, that's been played out.
Okay, can I also tell you?
That story was boring about 3 years ago.
Yeah, that could be an email.
Can I tell you who was one of the producers on Chiefsaholic, a wolf in Chiefs clothing?
Mahomes.
Aubrey Drake Graham. Drake the rapper, who's in the epic beef with Kendrick Lamar. So if you can only watch one, a Dale Earnhardt Sr., the making of the video game Madden, something about Game 7s, and then Chiefsaholic.
I got to tell you, for me, I would pick the Madden because that sounds incredible. But the senior video, the fashion choices in the senior video are going to be amazing.
For Dale?
Oh, my God. What they were wearing in Atlanta in 1984, I have to see that. The collars, those two are going to be incredible.
Peacock also has the 1990 New York Yankees coming out this week.
Oh, about the dynasty?
About the 1990.
Oh, literally just not the 90s, just the 1990.
Howie Spira.
Yeah.
All
the Dave Winfield stuff?
Yes. Wait, what? I have no idea what happened in 1990 Yankees.
It was like the equivalent to the Bronx Zoo.
That's when George got banned.
George got banned. Yeah.
But they didn't win, though, right?
No, so he hired a guy named Howie Spira to dig up dirt on Dave Winfield, the owner of the Yankees.
Oh,
that really
fun.
happened.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, and he got suspended for, I think, 2 years? 2 years.
And that's when they built the dynasty, basically, in the 2 years that he was away. So George Steinbrenner, that is. All right, there you go.
What do you got? What is everyone else voting for?
Give me that Game 7. I am just... I don't know. And I love video games, obviously. I played Madden my entire life. These recent Madden games have been terrible, but that's not going to make me not watch the documentary. Something about telling me stories about the iconic moments of sports, that's always going to hook me in. I'm sorry. So Game 7, nothing bigger, so I'm going with that.
The reason why I might want to go with Game 7s, like EJ said, is because and this is not against Amazon. These are the ones that are coming out on Amazon Prime, and I got the email about it, but I don't know if I trust sports documentaries about people anymore, especially iconic people, because depending on who has a hand in the documentary, am I getting the real story? Like Dale Earnhardt Sr., that's an amazing story, but that's also a story that's been told a lot. So is there going to be anything controversial? Is there going to be anything that's going to be, just a little bit different about that story?
But
same thing with Madden.
There's going to be no one to protect except Junior, I guess, because Dale Earnhardt Sr. is passed. So it's not like Urban Meyer controlling that Florida documentary.
Right. But people protect legacies.
Maybe. But I mean, as far as a story, the fact that he sort of defined the sport and then took the sport to this next level and actually died on the track to help his son and his mentee and Michael Waltrip Jr. I mean, that as a sports story, there's nothing better. Also, I'm telling you, the visuals of the 70s and 80s are going to be awesome.
That is cool. So that's just a couple new sports docs coming your way. And I didn't know about that 1990 doc. That's really cool. Coming up, we may have some problems here in Pittsburgh. New reporting coming out. This quarterback room might be something weird. We'll get to that next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You want NFL games? We got you NFL games. News breaking this morning of a couple big ones, Perloff. Now, we already knew that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to start off the season. They're going for the three-peat, start against the Baltimore Ravens. Earlier this morning, the news broke that week 2 is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. So Chiefs coming out of the gate with a bang. Lamar Jackson back-to-back with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, probably no Rashee Rice. I got to imagine he's suspended for those games. Last year, remember, they started out. Kelsey was banged up.
Did not play that Lions
Yeah,
game.
so I think it's an interesting start to their attempt to three-peat here. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard to three-peat. Based on history, that has never happened. Why would this Chiefs team be different? I hate to do this, but I'm already looking for the stumbling blocks. And you look at that first 2 games, it's easy to find. It's 2 tough games. Although we did see a stat. Zach Taylor 1-9 in the first 2 weeks of the season throughout his career.
Woof.
The Bengals are bad, and they get a few extra days rest to go against Cincy, who's had their number.
You know, I'd rather have these tough games in the early part of the season, though.
Would you? Well, that's the debate. Would you
Yeah.
rather get these out of the way, or would you rather wait? I think every team is different.
I'd rather get them out of the way. So that's at least what's going on with Kansas City. We also found out yesterday the Dallas Cowboys are going to open up their season in Cleveland, and Tom Brady will be on that game for Fox, already making quips about Dak Prescott and whether he can finally come through, and that was yesterday at the Fox upfronts. We got even more breaking news about the schedule, and that happened just within the last hour, and that is that the San Francisco 49ers, they will open week 1 Monday Night Football against the New York Jets. This feels a little mean, to be honest.
Yeah, what could go wrong
for
in a
Aaron
prime
Rodgers.
time week 1? No, this is perfect Jets time.
Yeah, I mean, he popped his Achilles 4 plays into Monday Night Football a year ago. You would think maybe they wouldn't put him right back again on Monday Night Football. It won't be the scene of the crime because that was in New York and this will be in San Francisco, but still the same vibe. Aaron Rodgers grew up in the Bay Area and has not had a great record against the team he grew up rooting for. So that's been a little bit of a bugaboo for him too. So that's all we know about the schedule, along with, of course, Perloff's Philadelphia Eagles are going to play the Green Bay Packers in Brazil week 1, Sao Paulo.
That stinks. I mean, that's not good.
No one's happy today. Nobody's happy. EJ and Pete are not happy about their Jets playing San Francisco. You're not happy about the Eagles playing in Brazil.
I actually, first of all, this whole thing is kind of annoying because they're putting these games in front of you, but we have to wait 4 months. I mean, you got me so excited to hear Tom Brady call Dak Prescott now, just to see what he's going to say. We have to wait 4 months. What are we doing?
This is the how the NFL's got us all by the you know what.
The anticipation is going to be crazy for these games. All sound so good.
Okay, so that is what we know so far of the NFL schedule. Here's what we don't know. We don't know who the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be starting the season off with, Perloff, nor do we know who's going to be taking the majority of snaps under center for them this season. Now, it's going to be Russell Wilson, who's got the starting job. They keep telling us that he is the starting job. They keep doubling down on him having the starting job. But it's fair to wonder what the relationship is going to be like between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And our pal Ty Dunn of GoLong.com has some new reporting of just how bad it got in the Chicago Bears quarterback room between Justin Fields, Nick Foles, and your good friend Andy Dalton. Now, it seems like most of the tension was actually between Fields and Nick Foles. Foles was trying to be a mentor. This is part of the story. Foles was trying to be a mentor to Justin Fields, and Fields maybe wasn't having it. According to the report, Foles and Fields, quote unquote, could not stand each other. Now, this is coming from an anonymous source, but again, describing the quarterback room as toxic and just really painting a picture that this was a really bad scene. And I know that Justin Fields will have grown and matured and all of that stuff since his rookie season. But I don't know if Russell Wilson is going to be that easy to get along with either, because I can't see him being this totally willing mentor also. Russell Wilson wants to play. He still wants to prove that he's a elite and starter in this league. So is this a combustible? Feels like a very potentially combustible situation.
Well, I think Russell Wilson, my experience, he's on a completely different vibe than everybody. He does the Russell Wilson thing. So I don't think he's going to have this toxic relationship with Fields. I don't expect them to have much of a real relationship. Maybe I'm misreading it. I'm obviously not in a locker room with Russell Wilson, but he's never connected with any of his teammates. So him not connecting with Fields might not be as dramatic. Foles, it sounds like from Ty Dunn's reporting, Foles wanted to have this relationship, and Fields didn't want to do it. So maybe, but Russell doesn't really want to have a relationship with anybody. Who's he close to as a player? No one.
Okay,
ever in the history of the league.
You're right about that, but here's the thing, or at least that's what we feel like we know about Russell Wilson, but here's the thing. That was before Russ really was ever in a true quarterback competition. And I know the Steelers keep saying Russ is the starter, he's the starter, but I'm sorry, I find it a little hard to believe. I do think that Fields is going to play games this year, and I think that his shadow right behind Russell Wilson is one that looms pretty large. So I don't know how Russell Wilson, how he treated Geno Smith and other backup quarterbacks who are not a threat to him might be different than how he treats Justin Fields. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about the Ty Dunn story was it was not kind to Justin Fields.
No, not
it made it sound like he has no chance of making his NFL quarterback. Can't see the field. His brain was moving too fast the way Ty Dunn, like he just like
couldn't process.
Could not that he couldn't process necessarily, but also he wouldn't. He was just always trying to do something extra. He was a little frenetic. And here's a question: will maybe Mike Tomlin settle down Justin Fields, who obviously has talent? I don't think it was necessarily just can't process. Some guys just have trouble pulling the trigger. You know, maybe they see everything, they just don't really know what to do. So I'm not sure. You think about Pittsburgh, you got to remember they got both these guys off the bargain bin.
Yeah.
Like they did not invest in either of them. They basically were like, we need to move on past Kenny Pickett. This is not happening. So Russell Wilson's costing them nothing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even if the cost is nothing, you still have personalities and egos and a situation in a locker room that has to be managed. And I'm not saying Mike Tomlin can't manage that. Of course he could. But it's interesting when it's aging quarterback who has something to prove, maybe on his last team, and then you have a guy who's fighting and clawing maybe to save his career. Now you got negative stories coming out about him. Like, it just sets up a dynamic that could be really maybe asking people to choose sides in the locker room. I have no idea. But
I think both will be on
it's not harmony, that's for sure. It doesn't seem like it.
Both will be on their best behavior because their contracts are up. Justin Fields is not going to cause any drama here because he knows he needs to get paid. And he's not just the Steelers. The rest of the NFL will be looking at him too. I think this is like, what happened to competition being good? Maybe they'll push each other. Have we considered that? And also, this is the Steelers. I mean, they had Antonio Brown. They have a high threshold for drama.
Yeah, they do, but where are the results? I mean, you have a lot of drama, and it's one thing when you're going to Super Bowls and winning Super Bowls and you're willing to overlook bad behavior from Ben Roethlisberger because he's a future Hall of Famer, but you don't have that now. Now you got guys who have been a problem, and you have a coach who may be on the hot seat in a team that hasn't won a playoff game now, and we're creeping up on, 8 years? So
you're saying it's okay to have all this, character issue if you win, but what's the difference? So they had the character issues and they won, and then basically their defense got old and they kept on winning but couldn't get a Super Bowl.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying winning is a deodorant, and we all know it.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. But still, that being said, if they win, then even if Fields and Russell hate each other, I think it'll be fine. In fact, I kind of want them to push each other. I think Russell Wilson, I felt like could have been pushed a little more last year. That he played much better than he did the year before, but it still didn't look like he was willing to completely sell out to win every game. Well, like he would hit the ground on a lot of runs pretty fast.
To be honest, it kind of seemed like he really caught his mojo when the team said, we want you to take a pay cut of your injury guarantees. And they said, we're basically going to bench you. And then they went on a 5-game winning streak around that. Here's a question for you, though, we're talking about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, the situation in Pittsburgh with the quarterbacks. You say, like, if Pittsburgh is winning, then everything's going to be fine. And I'll agree with you there. What's the vision there? How are they doing this? Who's the quarterback who's actually playing under center if they're going to be a winning team? Is it Russ or is it Justin Fields?
Who cares? I mean, they've been 9-8 with Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and the other guy from Oklahoma State, Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
The vision is that they find a way to win a bunch of 17-13 games against their divisional opponents. I think my personal thing is that Russell for about 6 games, Russ gets hurt, Justin Fields comes in, they win 17-13, they're 9-8, they maybe make the wild card and get bounced.
All right, well, that's not winning. That's like,
Well, it is. I mean,
that's doing exactly what they've been doing, which is get to the playoffs and lose.
well, are you saying that they should have a higher expectation because they stole Russell Wilson for a dime and because they got Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick? Why would that raise your expectation?
Well, because here's the thing: if your goal is just to go to the playoffs and lose again, not the goal, but if that's going to be your fate, why not just keep Pickett? You could double down on Pickett. You could have tried to actually develop this guy, not give up on him after, 2 years. And if this is the fate, then why even roll the dice with Russ, short-term solution, Justin Fields maybe feeling like a long shot, as opposed to your own guy?
Well, one thing, if Russ and Fields don't work out, they have something that all NFL teams and all NFL GMs want, flexibility. They can go anywhere after this. They're not going to lose a thing if
But
Russell
they didn't have
was...
to pay Pickett. Like,
Well,
nobody
yeah.
was knocking down the door like, oh, gosh, you got to give Kenny Pickett that $50 million bag. No way.
They might have run into one. They might have had to give him a Daniel Jones contract. I mean, Pickett could have developed just as nicely as Daniel Jones. He got 2 years, $80 million. I just think that this was a low risk move to try and upgrade because Kenny Pickett wasn't going anywhere there either. I think they had him in the building enough to know we're not developing this guy into a star.
Well, maybe, but let's play this thought exercise. We're talking about the Steelers quarterback room. If you had Pickett, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields, who wins that job if it's a straight up, even, not weighted quarterback competition?
With that team, I would say
Probably-
Russ.
Pickett might win it.
I don't know. I mean, you have wide receivers who probably need the ball. Is Fields going to get them? I mean, you're a coach and you're watching who's running the offense better. Russell Wilson has 14 years of experience. Fields has 3. I know Fields can run, but you're like setting up your competition. You're not going to look at that, right? You're going to look at who's running the offense best.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a slam dunk that Russ would win that quarterback competition. Again, thought exercise. If it was Pickett, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields, who wins the job out of camp? Say it was even. Yes.
Can we leave the room?
Yeah. You can also just go on vacation.
By the way,
follow Chase Claypool up to Canada.
Yeah, right.
Bottom line with
a
this
fourth
team,
option for Pete. Thank you.
all that matters is TJ Watt healthy? Is he playing this week? That is ironically the only thing that makes any difference in this situation.
Can he play quarterback? 855-212-4227. Okay, so that's a question for you about the Steelers quarterback room and new reporting coming out from our pal Ty Dunn about Justin Fields and not painting him in a very positive light.
I mean, this is a tough spot, too. One more thing. You know, they have a rookie left tackle. They have no receivers left. They have Pickens, who they seem to only throw to once every 2 or 3 weeks. Then their second receiver is Van Jefferson. Their third receiver is rookie Roman Wilson, who's a third-round pick.
They also got Freiermuth.
Still, that's a lot of risk. I mean, we're in the AFC North here. Look at the other receivers in this division. Look at the quarterbacks. That you got to admit, Van Jefferson 2, Roman Wilson at 3. That's probably the worst in the NFL.
Worst in the NFL?
That's bad.
It might be worse in the division.
That's definitely the worst in the NFL. I mean, unless Roman Wilson's awesome, Van Jefferson is not a number 2.
You're right, but Roman Wilson might be a number 2.
He's a third-round pick rookie.
Yeah, but he could be really good. I mean,
he could be, but still, that's not ideal.
855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on the Steelers. Yes, EJ?
It feels like the Steelers almost forgot about the wide receiver position.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
Carl's making a good point there. I mean,
it's Arthur Smith.
Tomlin and Arthur Smith, they not
want
want
to run the ball, man.
Yeah. And by the way, it's Arthur Smith. You have no idea who's going to get the pass on any given play.
That's very true.
Arthur Smith, their new offensive coordinator. So just get ready for a lot of Najee Harris.
Never have to worry about anybody being force-fed in Arthur Smith offense.
That being said, Arthur Smith probably could get a lot out of Fields and Wilson because you always point out the dude fixed Ryan Tannehill.
He got Ryan Tannehill paid.
Yeah, so if he could do that with Tannehill, maybe he has a chance to have medium quarterback play, which will win a lot of games in Pittsburgh.
Again, 855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on the Pittsburgh Steelers and what's up with the quarterback room. Also, again, we got more info about the schedule. San Francisco 49ers will open Monday Night Football Week 1 against the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers v. Brock Purdy.
Win.
What's that?
Win.
For who?
The 49ers.
I think so. Do we have an opening line on this?
I'm sure all the lines
16.
come out really quick.
Yep. What is it?
What'd you say?
16. It's the biggest line in NFL history.
Yes. Not a good game for the Jets. Going out west the first week. Nope.
855-212-4227. More details for you next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD, veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. All right, I got to guess. Maggie nailed it last week with the Bruins goalie. Was that? Yeah. Who, by the way, still a lot of controversy about that Bruins game the other day. Goalie got pushed into, whatever. I think I got it this week. It is Oklahoma City Thunder wing Jalen Williams, who is shut down. In the first round, he shut down Brandon Ingram. This round, he's shutting down Luka Doncic. And I know EJ is a fan of the Thunder, so I'm going to NBA Jalen Williams.
I think EJ is going to go to a baseball or something. He did hockey last week. We've done a lot of hoops. I think he goes baseball just to mix it up. And I think Max Fried's had like a lot of scoreless innings. I don't know if we count that as defense. It should be. But I don't know. Something like that.
If you count pitching as defense, you're losing defensive player of the week.
Well, it's not offense.
Well, yeah, but they give a gold glove to the best fielding pitcher because he's a fielder. Yeah, it's not offense. It's pitching. Okay.
I don't know.
All right, so the defensive player this week is Miles Turner of the Indiana Pacers, who had 3 blocks in the Pacers' 121-89 win over the Knicks.
You're too in it, man.
Oh, jeez. Miles Turner is an adventure on defense. Are you sure about that?
He was great on Sunday.
Wait till this game. The guy gets so many bad fouls on defense and offense.
I sincerely hope you're right. I'm just calling it as I see it.
Oh.
I thought Miles Turner was excellent in that game. The Pacers really took the Knicks out of it defensively entirely. I could have given this to Aaron Nesmith, too, who did a fantastic job on Jalen Brunson.
That was a good...
fouled the heck out of him every play.
Good adjustment there by Carlo.
Yeah, it's called Aaron Nesmith just hits him every time he walks on the court.
He is right. He is a hack. But this is the game's being called. And I'm hoping you give the Knicks some good mojo by crediting the Pacers for their very great effort on Sunday. Hoping the Knicks return the favor. So I'm giving it to Miles Turner this week.
No. I'm going to call a Maggie and Perloff show foul on EJ here.
Why?
Because this is about honoring the Navy Federal Credit Union. It is not about you emotionally hedging the Knicks Pacers series. Because you know why I know this trick? Because I do this trick, EJ. I do this all the time.
This.
I'm not denying what's happening here, but
Miles Turner, it's too obvious.
Miles Turner had a great game on Sunday.
Oh my God, that guy! Just wait till the night. He's gonna have 3 fouls before the 10-minute mark. No way. I like your thinking.
I hope he's terrible tonight. He probably will be terrible. I'm just talking about the game I watched on Sunday that basically was not a game because the Knicks did not show up. I think a lot of it had to do with Miles Turner's rim protection. And he had 3 blocks in the game. He was awesome. I mean, I'm just calling it as I see it.
All right. Yeah, admit it. I'm right, Maggie. He is definitely emotionally hedging there, and I appreciate that.
No doubt about it. I'm sorry. Can you hear me from up here?
Yeah, what's going on?
Do I sound okay?
If you're on the YouTube stream, you probably don't see most of Maggie.
No, I have to stand, and I'm willing to crowdsource this thing, but I'm not doing this because I'm trying to garner any kind of, no gifts, nothing like that, but it is my birthday tomorrow, and I think it's just very on cue that I'm having a birthday, and all of a sudden I'm having major back problems, and I have to stand because my back is killing me. You never told me this was going to happen. Like, you're just a tiny bit older than me, Perloff, and I thought you never warned me that back issues were coming post 40.
Did you ever notice that what are you doing after the show, Perloff? Going to physical therapy for this body part or that party part? This is just the beginning. You have no idea what's ahead of you, Maggie.
This is just too on the nose. You don't get this all of a sudden you wake up with a back problem 2 days before your birthday.
Well, guys get back problems starting at like 20. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm surprised you've never had back problems.
No,
I'm sure.
Never had
back problems in high school.
Yeah, EJ's definitely had back problems.
Never had back problems. I work out all the time. I try to take really good care of myself. I stretch sometimes.
Yeah, you're going to have to start stretching more. I mean, it does not get any easier. This is the most healthy and youngest you will ever be in your life is today. It's just going to go downhill.
I'm in so much pain. I had the heating pad last night. I'm doing yoga stretches. I'm dying here. Do I have to go to a chiropractor?
Remember late last year, I came in back just locked up, and I came and did the show. I couldn't walk.
Oh.
It's terrible.
But yours went away, right? How did it go away?
It goes away. It goes away in like a day.
How about some Icy Hot?
Yeah. Where do you get that?
At the store at CVS.
I got bad news, Maggie, and I don't think you liked it when I told you this the other day. 95% of back pain is mental, most likely repressed memories or guilt.
This is
yes, and we know that's true. Intuitively, you guys know that's true.
Perloff, I came in yesterday. I go, my back hurts. He goes, probably some repressed trauma. I'm like, no, I slept on it funny.
Yeah. Did I say? I don't think I said trauma. That's a hard word. But,
Sorry. You said repressed memories.
There's a book by.
I just picked up something and strained it.
You've never heard of Dr. Sarno? There's this famous book for people with back pain who says that back pain is always something going on in your head. It is nothing to do with your back or your hamstring or anything else.
I feel good, except for the fact my birthday's tomorrow.
Do you?
Yeah, if this goes back to the tarot card thing, it feels like you're ignoring all of the real things and focusing on the Bills only as your one outlet.
She said they're never going to win.
But the personal one, like 2 days before, that you said was amazing, and these are great, had all these bad omens. You're like, no big deal. And then you got spooked because she said the Bills are never going to win the Super Bowl again. The first one was like, the family problems, or I got maybe I'm career change, or I'm moving. You're like, this is awesome. She goes, Bills can win the Super Bowl. And you go, oh my God, what am I going to do? So
I was in a spiral.
All of your emotions are all misaligned right now. And now your back's misaligned.
The original tarot card reader said it was just a conversation that I need to have with somebody that I'm not having. And I was like, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's called a therapist, Maggie. You can see chiropractor all you want. We got some. This is a safe space. What's going on? Just talk to us. What's going on? What's really going on?
I'm turning 41, and now my back is all blocked up.
I'd go get you a nice chair around here, but we don't have those.
I'm getting a lot of useful suggestions in the chat. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet.
Imagine.
Twitch.tv.
That's where I go for all my medical advice.
Well, I'm being told by Delta that the Sticky Icky is the place I need to go.
Now you rub that right on these days? How does that work?
Smoke it and put it
Perloff smokes it, exhales on your back. By lunchtime, you'll be fine.
It's secondhand.
Oh, CBD. So wait, he say CBD is like the new thing for muscle problems.
I'm seeing a THC CBD balm. I'm seeing good vibes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I read an ad on WFAN for some kind of weed medicine. So maybe it's lying around here. We can do this immediately for you.
I'd love to find some weed medicine lying around here. That's probably from 1978.
No, it's brand new, cutting edge.
Yeah. That's the thing. Dr. Soto says anxiety and repressed anger trigger muscle spasms. Who you mad at?
Everybody. Most notably the Bills front office. Bogusch is here. He's got headlines.
Jets at Niners on the first Monday night. Bengals at Chiefs on the second Sunday afternoon. And Cowboys-Browns on the first Sunday afternoon. Those are the latest official schedule leaks ahead of tomorrow night's full release. Jared Goff's 4-year extension, which we've been discussing all morning, it guarantees him $170 million. It also means the Lions have committed $444 million this offseason to Goff, wideout Amon-Ra St. Brown, and tackle Penei Sewell. And the Bills reportedly adding well-traveled receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Now, that is brand new news, so it cannot be blamed for Maggie's back problems.
My back hurts even more now. Need a backiotomy.
The Mavericks reeled off back-to-back wins to take control of their series with the Thunder and then gave up control with a dud at home last night. Jason Kidd's team losing 196, partly because it went 12 for 23 from the foul line.
These are pros. They're not machines. They practice their free throws. They practice putting on their uniform. And so it's just about being able to step up. You're going to make some, you're going to miss some. No one's ever, shot 100% from the free throw line.
Well, some guys have on a given night. Luka was at the line with a chance to tie with 10 seconds left, but missed the first. He scored just 18 points last night, only 9 for Kyrie.
Practice putting on the uniforms.
Yeah, he's searching for anything. Didn't Steve Nash hit close to 100% of his free throws?
Yeah, didn't Brunson the other night?
It was 14 of 14 or 11 of 11, something like that.
By the way, there's a hack a lively thing going on, right?
They tried that in game 3.
And
game 3.
It was amazing. He was at first he was running full sprint away from guys out of bounds. It was awesome.
It looked like they were playing Ring Around the Rosie on an NBA basketball court. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I thought we were done with Hack-a-Shack. I mean, it's been a while since we've had a real Hack-a. Are there guys that are doing that?
When the Nets are close to winning, you can do a Hack-a-Clax for Nick Claxton.
Yeah.
I think some teams have done hack a Mitch for the Knicks.
Yes.
It's not often, but they've done that a couple of times too. We haven't seen it in the playoffs, and we won't see it because
How
he's
about
done
hack
now.
Alec Burks or something?
Oh.
Give the Knicks a break.
Dude, I'm so thrilled that Alec Burks is getting run in this playoff series. This is awesome.
Did you see I saw the funniest tweet about Alec Burks. Somebody was like, Alec Burks is like if you were loading a great NBA scorer, but then stopped at like 72%.
Oh, by the way, would you hack Rudy Gobert? Because I saw he was having trouble at the free throw line.
Well, at Josh Hart, it's a 70% free throw shooter, right?
Yeah, but I think that's not good for the NBA that they're discovering. Like the Mavs missing those foul shots. Watch the Thunder do this again. But Luka barely even that big foul shot. Like he barely got rimmed.
I know. That's how you know he really is hurt.
Yeah, I have to admit, maybe Luka is hurt. I will give you that.
The Celtics put down a shorthanded Cavs team last night, 109-102 in Cleveland for a 3-1 series lead. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown combining for 60 points, while the Cavs missed Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen. The Cincinnati Reds can't win baseball games these days.
Swinging a soft liner, right field, base hit. Gurriel scores. Moreno around third. D-backs win. Kevin Newman delivers his 4th hit of the night, and the D-backs walk off Cincinnati 6-5.
That's from Diamondbacks Radio. Kevin Newman's 2-run single giving Arizona a 6-5 win. The Reds have now dropped 11 of 12. The Rockies, meanwhile, on a 5-game win streak after a 5-4 victory in San Diego. I think that makes them now 13-28 for the season.
My offer still stands.
Wow.
And they still decline. Alex Bregman with 2 homers, 4 RBI, and the Astros 9-2 decision over the A's. The Guardians blanked the Rangers 7-zip. Jose Ramirez was on base 5 times, drove in 4. The New York Rangers now 0-2, closing out the Hurricanes, losing Game 5 at the Garden 4-1. Head coach Peter Laviolette unhappy postgame.
It was not wasn't a reflection for who we were for the majority of the year. Tonight was not it for us, and we'll look to get better.
Game 6 in Raleigh on Thursday. The Dallas Stars were 5-1 winners in Colorado. They have a 3-1 lead on the Avalanche. Brittany Griner is out indefinitely, missing the start of the WNBA season after fracturing a toe. Her Mercury play their first game in Vegas tonight, while CaitlinClark debuts as the Fever visit the Connecticut Sun. The WNBA team that the Warriors own will be called the Valkyries. They begin play next spring.
Yes.
And back to CaitlinClark, her college coach, Lisa BLUDER, retiring yesterday at Iowa. 24 years there. 40 years total. She's the winningest coach in Big Ten history. Jan Jensen, her longtime assistant, is now in charge of the Hawkeyes.
Man, what a chef's kiss. Perfect timing for Lisa BLUDER. I didn't even know she was going to retire. I would retire too. Back-to-back national title games, and CaitlinClark leaves. Be like, yep, I'm out, everybody.
I gotta be honest, I had no idea who she was until 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So you're right, but don't discount Jan Jensen. She's earned this job. I was gonna say that. No, I have no idea who Jan Jensen is. By the way, Valkyrie, are we down with that name? I think that's one of the coolest pro sports names there is. That's awesome.
I think it also goes to show that it's fun to crowdsource the names, like what Utah's doing with the hockey team, and the Freeze and the Frozen and the
Squalls.
And
that's gone very, very well. People are into that.
They're into it, but you could also just come up with a name. Valkyries is cool, and as far as I know, they didn't crowdsource this one. They just probably got a search firm or put in ChatGPT, and they got something cool.
Yeah, I mean, is it Valks for short? Is that what you call them?
That's my only initial objection. It doesn't flow like
it's a long name.
It's a lot of syllables.
Yeah.
Hard to
Golden
spell.
State. Well, Golden State's only 2 syllables. That helps, but Valkyries.
And it's plural.
3.
It's Valkyries.
Yeah.
Where do I file a complaint, by the way, about an Andrew Bogusch update? Where's the complaint? I mean, you read a bunch of baseball scores, but you didn't read the Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets baseball.
I did in the first one. That was good enough. No game got a second mention.
Right. It's not like they hit the hell out of the ball.
You led with the Reds.
Lucky.
It's a Monday in May. Everybody got something new.
Don't worry. The Phillies and the Mets play again in a couple hours.
Right.
I'm sure if the Mets win this one, we'll hear all about it, Bogusch.
No, guess what? You will hear nothing about that game at all tomorrow because it's a 1:10 first pitch. Doesn't make the cut.
Oh, also too, and there's actual basketball games people want to watch tonight. Sorry, that Boston-Cleveland series, no.
LeBron's the only one wanted to watch it, apparently.
And Khloe Kardashian was there, too.
Was she really?
Fan-ish?
I mean,
that situation is?
Rick Carlisle should preemptively say, NBA, you better not give a bunch of calls to the Knicks, because I know the NBA does not want a Celtics-Pacers final, that Eastern Conference final. That is not going to be a ratings bonanza.
I'm sure he scheduled a press conference today.
Yeah.
Very exact thing.
You guys,
what else can he go to the well on? You know, it's like you already called out the small market versus the big market team. And does he have another card to play here?
That being said, was that the best $35,000 fine in the history of the NBA? That was
maybe got him
brilliant.
2 games.
Yes, I mean, honestly, it kind of worked. That's what you do in playoff series. You complain, you yell. I know all about this. You have to work every angle.
He's gonna be like, teams with 6'1" point guards get too many advantages. We got a 6'5" guy.
Good point.
Like, come on. Stop giving it to the little guy, okay? My 6'5" point guards deserve those calls too.
Can we go back to Khloe and Tristan Thompson for just a second?
Mm-hmm.
This will be like a live Google search on the air. You're my Google machine, the four of you, because maybe one of you can help me here. So my kids love Sirius XM Hits 1. That's on in my car all the time.
Okay.
And along the way, in between horribly brain-invasive songs, they do little gossip, celebrity news, little reports. And this woman is reading it, and she gets in. And Khloe Kardashian had Tristan Thompson take multiple paternity tests to confirm that he's the father of the newest baby. I don't even think he's a baby anymore. But they had her through a surrogate, which means it was scientifically done. So I don't know
I saw
how
that headline too.
I don't
was
understand
confused.
what the test would be. And the kicker was because people keep saying the kid looks like her brother Rob. And I'm like,
Or
wait,
her.
Right. That's her brother. It's okay that her kid looks like males in her family.
Yeah, a lot of kids look like their uncles.
And how do you do a paternity test on a surrogate delivery? That was syringes and vials.
Wow.
And, that's a thing you should really be certain of, that Tristan is definitely the dad.
Man, when you stopped on this story, I was like, I can't believe Bogusch is curious about Khloe Kardashian, but this is quite a conundrum. So they had the kid through a surrogate. This is the second one?
The youngest one. Is it 2 or 3? I don't know. It's the newest
one.
kid they have.
Okay.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they've broken up and got back together 1,000 times, but I guess that happens.
But they're not together now, right?
I have no idea.
But I think they're on good terms.
They're co-parenting right
Yeah,
now.
so if you have someone if you're having a baby through a surrogate, you're just implanting the embryo.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're not sure, what you're doing is basically that you're accusing people of malpractice.
No, that would be the fertility clinic would be really have some explaining to do.
Exactly.
But if the baby looked like Khloe Kardashian, that'd be really weird, because Khloe Kardashian doesn't look a thing like Khloe Kardashian. She doesn't look like the same person at all. So wait, the old Khloe Kardashian? Who's she looking like? Is the baby have plastic surgery by age 2?
Man, mic drop.
That might be
Perloff.
wild this happened.
That is such a great line.
I'm looking at a picture of Khloe Kardashian. That's not Khloe Kardashian.
She looks like the artist formerly known as Khloe Kardashian.
Another side game. Guess how old Tristan Thompson is? I saw him playing last night. I thought it was Tristan. I'm like, wow, Tristan's already got a kid in the league. Guess how old he is?
37.
It's the Seattle Seahawks. Legion of Boom
the
situation.
Legion of Boom. They're always younger than we expect them to be. Is he 31?
Well, he's 33.
Oh.
I was gonna say 34. I mean, yeah.
I thought he was playing back with Adonis Haslam in 2008.
The guys that are
feels old.
The guys that are one and done guys, we always think they're much older.
Yeah.
Like he played
a
one
and
year
done
in
guy?
Texas, and so it makes you think that these guys. But I mean, it's 14 years ago, and he was also playing a lot at a very young age in front of millions of people in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
So why did he tail off so bad?
Because he can't shoot or dribble or do anything most basketball players can do. But he's a great hustle guy.
Good energy, dude.
He was 2 for 2 from
basketball.
3 last night. I saw that. That was shocking.
From 3?
Man, that is...
I think he hit 2 3-pointers last night.
No, that's Max Strus.
I mean,
also not the father.
I don't know. I have no idea. That seems impossible.
The weirdest people were buying. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think Tristan Thompson hit a couple bombs.
No, he was just from the field. 2 for 2 from the field.
Oh, okay.
Those might have been his first 3-pointers of his career, if that was the case. I was like, wow. Cavs really were giving their final stand effort last night in Game 4.
He got that paternity suit back and was like, I'm feeling it. I am the father because we got this through a surrogate.
Listen, it's an Amori Povich channel.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, 2 for 2 for the field. Even that's impressive. What a night.
Well, when you're shooting 1 foot away from the basket, I'd hope you go 2 for 2. Those are
Honestly,
the only shots he takes.
Just ask LeBron to pass the bottle of wine for that whole situation.
My guy George Niang running around for the Cavs. That was a great game. EJ had explained to me who Sam Merrill was this morning on the Cavs. That white shooting guard that came on and was
the other white shooting
throwing
guard,
bombs.
not Strus.
Wait, isn't Sam Merrill the name of a comic?
That's Sam Merrill.
Or Morrill. It's in this guy's with an E, I think.
Yeah, this is Sam Merrill.
Out of Utah State. The Cavs were trying anything last night, and it almost worked.
That's true.
It was a bizarre game.
Maybe if they let Tristan Thompson shoot threes, they would have won.
It's reinventing himself 14 years into the league. Thank you, everyone, for the suggestions on what I should do to try to ease my back pain that has popped up in the last 2 days. I've never had back pain before, but I got it on the gummies. I got it. I'm not going to take those, but thank you for the offer. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to need something more homeopathic even than that.
Or you're already high as a kite, and you still have back pain.
It's so bad. Also, a whirlpool. But I don't know where I'd find one of those except for Perloff's quack doctor or somehow give him scabies.
Which was
don't ask Perloff.
It wasn't really a whirlpool. It was a tub of warm water with
We
a
know
fan
it's not a real whirlpool,
attached into it.
I thought he was stirring it with like an oar, like he was putting salt and pepper.
Like a
also
witch's brew?
into it, like you were getting
a ladle.
Listen,
He was cooking you.
I Googled physical therapy in
Soupy.
Brooklyn, and this
you
guy was the
avoided
first
murder.
one to come up.
Why is the water bubbling?
So wait. It worked.
Is that bouillabaisse?
It worked.
What's going on?
slicing the carrots and the onion.
Was that called mirepoix?
I would get you this guy's information, but there's no way he's still alive.
Chef Boyardee was his information.
I think you say there's no way he's still in business, not knowing he's still alive.
He was pushing 80 back in 2009. I mean, I can't imagine he's still practicing.
These are home remedies of cannibalism.
This had worked. This guy had actually worked on Joe DiMaggio in 48.
Or 08.
He's a signed picture of Joe and Marilyn on the wall. Like they came here.
No. We know my good friend Dr. Positano, best friends with Joe DiMaggio, so let's not.
I know.
That's sacred ground.
Even
here.
Dr. Positano couldn't help me with this, I don't
Yeah,
think.
he probably could.
He's an ankle doctor.
Yeah, but he knows people.
He's the LeBron James of ankle doctors.
He's the one who got me into an appointment where basically they pushed a certain Knicks star to the side to have me come into the office immediately because I knew Doc.
I'm hearing hot yoga. I think I'm past that point, but thank you guys. 855-212-4227. Thank you so much, Bogusch, as well. Coming up, we've got some best case scenarios and worst case scenarios for your favorite NFL team.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, you've got a spicy something from the internet?
NFL Network's Peter Schrager is on a hot streak. He had the best mock draft according to all the measurements, and he predicted the Super Bowl champion for 5th year in a row. He has been doing mock schedule releases, which is a brilliant concept.
Oh.
Well, it's kind of a waste of time. He has a good point. Sunday Night Football, NBC Week 1 is still open. It's the Giants, the New York Giants' 100th year anniversary. The Cowboys are already spoken for. The Eagles are already spoken for. How about Commanders at Giants with all the new faces as the opening Sunday night game? That is not exactly what I thought.
Yeah, I don't love that.
But I got to be honest, the Giants do rate well.
Yeah, well, the New York teams, we know the Jets are going to be on Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. We learned that this morning, that first Monday night game. Aaron Rodgers returns to the Bay Area. I think we can do better.
You know, Week 1, I think it will be fun to see Caleb Williams and probably Jaden Daniels. So that's another spicy element of Week 1. Honestly, the Bears Week 1 game, that's really interesting.
I know that sometimes the league will start with division games, sometimes they don't. But give me a little Bears-Packers out of the gate. Can I get a little Caleb and Jordan Love?
The only problem that though is you gotta. Yeah. Hopefully you'll get a cold game late in the year, though.
You can do that.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I need to have a December game in Lambeau or Soldier Field.
I know, but it's both outdoor stadiums, so you'll.
Yeah, but I think one of those rivalries we didn't get that. I don't think we got that. Oh, the Bears we did.
Well, also, too, I think you'll have a lot of questions. How many primetime games do each of these teams get? Like, what do you do with a team like the Bears where you have an unknown like Caleb Williams? You give them 4 primetime, and if it doesn't work, then you're stuck with some duds?
Like last year, the Lions played the Packers early in the season in Lambeau, and then the last game at Thanksgiving was a dome game. So you didn't have your classic cold weather game in Detroit versus Detroit going to Green Bay. That kind of
but if it's Bears Packers, you definitely get cold weather.
Right. Yeah. As long as you put it late in the season.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. You guys are also forgetting. I mean, C.J. Stroud was a massive story last year. They're definitely going to get more primetime games, and I can imagine C.J. Stroud would be a primetime opening weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get I think the Texans get the max. I think the Lions absolutely get the max. I think the Packers get the max. Cowboys get the max. There's a lot of teams. Like, it's going to be hard. Even a team like the Bears have all this excitement. They're going to be boxed out. You know what I like when the number 1 pick plays a number 2 pick? Remember Jameis Winston and Mariota played in week 1? So I'm trying to find out if the Bears play the Commanders, and they do at Washington. How about that? How about Caleb versus Jaden?
I think that's fun, but, we did that last year where you had Caleb against Bryce Young, and it was a little later in the season. Remember, it was basically one of 2 games that the Carolina Panthers won.
CJ versus Bryce Young.
CJ, what did I say?
Caleb.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
CJ Stroud, versus
right, they did win that
Bryce
game.
Young. Mm-hmm.
And then Bryce Young had a weird, really good game against the Packers.
That's it.
Hard to explain. Talking about a forgotten player. Like, of all the teams I'm waiting to see the schedule, Carolina, not so much.
Carolina's going to be Sunday at 1.
Yeah, they're going to be. They're going wire to wire Sunday at 1.
You know what, though? Actually, no. I'm pretty sure about this. I think Carolina has a game in Europe. I do think they have I think they have the Germany game this year. Those games, only one half of them has been announced. So it's obviously Jacksonville. I thought Carolina's another one.
Yeah. So, I mean, Carolina, who are the worst teams? Carolina, New England, Denver, Arizona. Those are the 4 bottom. Do any of them? I think Denver gets a primetime game.
You really think Denver's going to be one of the worst teams in the league?
Well, Super Bowl odds are way down. I mean, yeah, they probably are.
I think they'll still get a primetime, though. You got a rookie quarterback, which is fun.
Yep.
That we all know and have watched, and you also have Sean Payton. Okay, so tonight, Perloff, as we are going to get more schedule stuff, maybe one of the most hotly anticipated debuts until we get to the NFL season, which is CaitlinClark, and her WNBA debut happens tonight, 7:30. I believe it's ESPN2. This is massive. The most watched WNBA game of all time is still the inaugural game. 1997, the first game they ever played, got about 5 million average viewers. CaitlinClark's last college game against South Carolina averaged 19 million viewers. So what do we think happens tonight? You want to play a little closest without going over?
Yeah, sure. I don't think it gets to 5 million. I think it's going to be 3.5 million. Are we allowed to do fractions? 3.5 million, because they're going up against the NBA playoffs, which I think a pretty interesting game too. It'll steal a few viewers.
Yeah. Also, it's ESPN2. It's not ABC.
By the way, 3.5 is a huge number for ESPN2. I think it will be a very big number, but nothing like the college numbers we saw.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. What'd you say? 3.5 million?
I went 3.5.
I'm gonna go 3.75, something like that. Just a little bit more than you. Just a little one up.
You just prices right.
Well, I could have said $1.
But actually, that's if they have 3.5 for a Tuesday night game going against a Knicks Pacers playoff game, that's pretty good. Obviously.
No, it's going to be huge. And you and I have talked about this, just about what her rookie season, and CaitlinClark, what her rookie season is going to look like, and whether or not she's going to be able to average 20 points a game, which you think is going to be not easy, but doable.
I think she's going to have a huge rookie season. Now, the funny thing is, I get killed on social media for being a CaitlinClark hater, which is the stupidest thing. Can we just relax about CaitlinClark and let her play basketball? She's like LeBron of the WNBA. Everything that happens with her is polarizing immediately. So that actually is my question. Could she ease into her career at all? Or if, say, she had a cold shooting night tonight, is it all of a sudden going to be a calamity? Most rookies, we let them learn to play the game. I don't think she's going to get that benefit.
Do we let rookies?
Well, yeah.
Kind of quick to judge people, but I think that
in the NBA, though?
Listen, here's the thing. If she goes on a cold streak, we can't say we haven't seen that before. I mean, we've seen her have 2 for 14 nights and stuff like that. And her teammates were able to pick her up, and I think that will happen here. But no,
she was
there's a lot of pressure on her.
She was kind of boxing one. Like, everybody was paying attention to her. Now she'll be a normal player.
That's true. That's going to do it for us. Thank you, DJ Stewart, Pete Bellotti, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Guido's Coffee Drinkers, We're back tomorrow. On Wednesdays, we do the Great Debate. What do we have for you tomorrow? It's going to be a doozy. See ya.
You're in a 5-minute break.